Good viewer, you are watching Xirtus. This is because Xirtus makes you feel good, makes you feel fulfilled. You are enjoying this. You will continue to watch Xirtus for a long time to come. You want to subscribe to Xirtus, and you will. You will like and subscribe and share. You will tell your friends. Tell your friends about Xirtus. Your friends will come to like Xirtus, much as you are liking this right now, as we speak. Thank you for subscribing to Xirtus. See, that was easy.
The following video contains content some viewers might find disturbing. The views and opinions expressed here are not facts and are nothing more than entertainment. The views and opinions are not facts and do not represent the views and opinions of Xirtus or our channel, and do not necessarily represent or reflect the views of the guests, YouTube, Google, mainstream media, society, or civilization at large, or anybody. Viewer discretion is advised.
What up? There's a lot of hoes going on, I guess. Merry Christmas.
What up? What up?
Happy, someone called it Yule Shabbat. I don't know if is that Yule Shabbat on a Wednesday? Is that how that goes?
It's never Yule Shabbat.
Never Yule Shabbat.
That's not a thing.
I like the idea. No, I mean like kind of a Nordic Shabbat. Like it could be.
I mean, you already get a day off for Christmas.
You get all the days off anyway. I think that's kind of the vibe. But like
that is the vibe of the future, man. Universal basic Shabbat.
Your place looks like Xmas Shabbat. Like you got all that spirit. It looks like a lot of Christmas.
I brought back my rolling wall just for this episode behind me. So
do a solo for a second because it's just a lot.
I did make a critical mistake and I left my lighter downstairs, so I might as well run and get it now. And just if you can just introduce the show for 30 seconds, I'm gonna run downstairs and grab a lighter because that is something I definitely need.
Okay, I'll try. Let me
talk
see
to him for 1 sec.
Yeah. How you guys doing? I'm gonna play my Mexican song again. I like it. It's fun. Is it working?
Eres la flor roja, el pasto verde, un mar de esperanza.
Cool song because it's about how we're all different colored flowers.
Y yo soy el agua que fluye sin mudanza. Somos un jardín de colores, flores diferentes, viviendo amores rojo, verde, azul en canción. Unidos crecemos con el corazón.
I feel like that could be a hit in at least like 16 countries. You know what I mean? Besides the United States. So
probably 16 countries I've never heard of.
Yeah.
On the Eastern Bloc somewhere. There's still countries I've never heard of, dude. Like I'll see a flag and I'll click on it and I'll be like, what? I never heard of that country.
Oh, I think I already showed this off, but this is my favorite Christmas thing. It's I got this in Louisiana. It's a Louisiana snowman.
Funny. It's just floating top hat. Is there a carrot in there too?
Yeah, there's a carrot. There's a broom. There's the hat. It's hard to see it all because it's like in water. But yeah, there's a hat. There's coal. There's like a little piece of coal in there. See, it's all of it.
The eyes or the buttons.
Yeah, the eyes, the buttons, it's all there. But you know, I've had that for like since the year 2001, I think. So
wow.
Yeah, so that's like the longest. I think no one has a snowman that lasts that long. So it's pretty sweet.
What about Frosty the Snowman? He comes back every year. He's got a magic hat.
But that's like the Phoenix.
Do you think it's the same magic hat that what's his name, the Mormon guy had? John Smith. Is that his name? John Smith.
That could Joseph Smith. Yeah, Joseph. I mean that'd be interesting because I think there's something to that idea of like magic top hat. Like, what do you think that is? The Mercury or something? Does it just make?
Because of the Mad Hatters? Yeah, I mean that.
Or like there's magic to it. Like maybe the Mercury and the Mad Hats are just like I don't know, man. I don't know. Because
I don't know. Like, I don't know. I mean, does it have to be enchanted by a wizard, or is it like?
I feel like Mercury has like science to it too. So there could be something else like with the Mercury. Like there's something there.
Well, as mad as the Mad Hatter was, he looked like he was having a pretty good time. He's out there having parties, outdoor, al fresco tea parties with all his friends. So
Santa doesn't like wear a top hat, but Nutcrackers do. You know what I mean? Like the Nutcrackers got this kind of a like top hat looking thing. Maybe top hats have to do with that. Why is the Phrygian cap the one that's so important to Santa Claus? Because it just seems like that has to be its own set of symbolism. Come on, internet, don't fail me now.
I don't know. I remember we were talking about this last Christmas, and I didn't even know the name of that hat, to be honest. But I don't know. Ancient. I mean, like this part is just for fun, So it's a warm hat on one side, but then on the other side. This part's just for fun. You don't need any of this stuff hanging.
What if it has a practical purpose? Like, have you gone skiing in that hat?
Well, if you have a much longer one, you can wrap it around like a scarf. And I do have one that like goes down to my knees, and you can wrap it like a scarf. But I don't think they were wearing ones like that. I think it was just frivolity. I mean, the whole season is about frivolity, and it's a huge part of the makeup of a human being. Is that at the worst time of the year, when it's like the coldest and the most bitter, you're gonna have a huge feast. You're gonna do all this decorating and have like the best time at like the worst time of the year. And frivolity, it doesn't need to be bright red either. You know what I mean? That's dye. Dye is expensive. I mean, why does anyone dye their clothes? Why does anyone have any sense of fashion?
Frivolity
or adornment or anything like that.
Yeah, because you're doing against the nature's telling you that like nothing is living, and so you're putting up lights and things. I guess. I mean, is it standing? It feels like frivolity. I don't know, because it's like it's standing in the face of the destruction of winter.
Oh yeah, no, that's what I mean. Absolutely, it's like not only are we going to survive it, we're going to like thrive it. You know what I mean? And make it something to look forward to. Make it like the most wonderful time of the year, like a total reversal. There was literally nothing good about winter. You're just hungry. You're saving your food. You can't do any farming. You're stuck indoors with your annoying family, and you don't have running water. You can't even wash, so they smell like crap. And there's really nothing good about it, but it's been made into the best time of year. And I think all the lights and everything is the northern lights, and it's supposed to represent I still think there is a tree of life that's like hidden from us at the center of whatever shape the world is. It doesn't matter to me if it's a sphere or if it's flat or a donut, but at the tip, the epicenter of it, where the northern lights are coming out, I think there's a giant magical tree of life there, like in Avatar. And the decorating the Christmas trees is paying homage to that, or trying to propagate that, in the sense that, God made us in his image to share in creativity with him. So we can, follow his footsteps and not only try to create life and AI and stuff like that, but we can also try to create the tree of life. And
a lot of time people don't talk about the Norns. Like at the tree of life, there's supposed to be these like cosmic feminine fates that drink from the well, that are constantly pouring from the well of the river or whatever it is, the well in front of the tree of life, the Yggdrasil, right?
Is that the fountain of youth? Because Santa and the elves are living forever.
Could be a thing.
Well, more than living forever. I don't think you can kill Santa anyhow, right? Like he's living forever, but I don't think you could like shoot him or strangle him or anything either.
So you're not a fan of the Santa Claus like movie, like where they replace Santa Claus? You don't think that there's that idea?
I love those movies. I love those movies. I don't agree with that mythology, but I think the movies are totally. I love these movies. I've also got the same initials, and I'm turning into Santa Claus.
Did you see? Because a couple of I did do like a couple Christmases ago. The idea that like there is a change of Santa Claus in the sense that we change what we want Santa Claus to be. And so in a sense that kind of gets rid of the old Santa Claus by replacing it with a new Santa Claus. This is what we do with everything. Like in the Sandman comic, there's actually like after the 10th version of the Sandman essentially dies and is reborn, right? There's a new Sandman that emerges that's different than the old Sandman. It's integrated with the former Sandman. But it's like, because humanity has changed, their perspective of him has changed. So his identity has changed, right? I feel like that's kind of similar with Santa. They did that with the new Santa Claus series. Have you seen?
I haven't watched season 2 yet. I watched season 1 for you. I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah, fair.
I enjoy the sets and stuff like that, and I love Tim Allen.
It felt like a DMT trip. Like every intro sequence, the music was super weird, and
to me, it's like almost like. I don't want to say like a mockery, but it's like they're almost like overdoing it. Like I love the art and the set design in Santa Claus 2 and Santa Claus 3. I think they nailed the North Pole in those. And then I think in the Santa Claus the series, it gets a little bit, but they have to do different things and try to get the attention of these kids with 1 second.
Something weird about it. It just felt like, especially season 2, felt really authoritative because they obviously are into witchcraft. It's Disney, they know a lot about.
Yeah, there's a witch in season 1. I remember.
Yeah, and then so the witch is real, and we should talk about her.
First,
she's not really a Christmas witch. She's actually an Epiphany witch.
Before we bookmark that, let me just answer one of the first 3 things you just brought up.
Yeah,
about the Santa Claus. I don't think it's true, the idea that like Santa Claus gets replaced by like another consciousness. You know what I mean? Like that Santa goes away and then Tim Allen becomes Santa and he's got his own memories of his life and their consciousness isn't connected. That doesn't really appeal to me for some reason, but I do think that Santa Claus is egregore. You know what I mean? Like a collective conception that's so ironclad that it's as good as real. Santa Claus is more real than some guy you've never heard of, right? Like, how am I going to convince you that Joe Balarkey from Kentucky is real? You know what I mean? Like, a lot more about Santa Claus. But I do think that the reason we have these egregores is aspirational. Santa Claus is an aspirational character. To me, Jesus Christ is an aspirational character. So it's like, I'm not confusing Santa Claus as a historical character or anything like that. It doesn't really matter if he dies and gets replaced or not. But I think all of us can call forth that spirit within us. It's aspirational. And that is the eternal life part. I don't know, but I totally get the laughing, the ho, ho, ho part, because when you give, like giving is the secret to life, really. We're so focused on securing what we have and getting what we need, but giving is truly the secret to life. And when you give, you feel so good. It's a feeling like nothing else. And that's the feeling of Christmas. And that's why Santa Claus is always laughing and always happy. You know what I mean? It's because he's like giving eternally. And there's something about that transcends death. the inspiration that you give to others. So even if Saint Nicholas was just one dude who was super generous centuries ago, you know, he's still inspiring other people like me, you know, and the whole story, everyone connected to Santa Claus is inspiring me for 1 month of the year to be extremely generous. And it's my favorite month of the year and feels great. So I think Santa is an egregore. We all created him with our mind and we have a shared conception. And you're right, we do replace him. Like we don't have the Krampus that hits you with a broom anymore, or like Phil Schnickel or whatever. Like we have our modern Coca-Cola, Norman Rockwell Santa Claus that, you're right, is now morphing into like this Disney Technicolor, you know, transhuman Santa that like from the Santa Clauses. But it is something that we all, a collective conception. But the reason we have these collective conceptions of good and evil, and I think that in the same sense that Santa Claus, like Serpentor from G.I. Joe, is like the ultimate negative egregore. He's like the DNA of all the worst people ever, like Hitler, Genghis Khan, whatever, the most murderous people. That's like your ultimate negative egregore. And then Santa is your ultimate positive egregore, like the total opposite of like the most giving, loving. Some people conceptualize that as Jesus, some people as Santa Claus. But it's all meant to inspire us and be aspirational.
You get a comic book of Jesus fighting Serpentor. That'd be good too.
Santa fighting Serpentor.
It's pretty relevant though, this idea of you know, the changing of Santa Claus though, like because we did have a more violent you know, all the myths were more violent. It's like you have to be good, and if you're bad, there's consequences. And we really removed the consequences of these things. So now it's just Santa Claus is just like the pure goodness. Right. But is that right? Like, shouldn't Santa Claus also be like vicious? Like there should be like a kind of judgment Santa. Is that not real?
Well, I mean, Santa is in that sense isn't real. So I mean, you can conceptualize him any way you want. What matters is how many people agree with you. You know what I mean? So if that's the general consensus, then I lose out and Santa becomes just like every other person, like a balance of good and evil. But it's supposed to be what happens when you wash all the evil out of you and you're just giving and loving, you know. But I don't know, man. I don't know why Santa used to be so violent. I think life used to be tougher and more violent. And people complain a lot that, I mean, conservatives complain a lot that life has gotten too easy and it's making people soft and silly, and soft men make bad times in it. But all that is that's very cynical and pessimistic, that we're locked into this. Life is a series of cycles, but it's like they grow. You know what I mean? It's like the golden ratio. It's not just
well, if every kid was good, then Santa wouldn't need any kids, right? Like,
we have spirals of negative and positive, but everything is moving in charting in a certain direction that some people think is good and some people think is bad. But what did you say about Santa having kids?
Sorry, I just meant if kids were all good, then Santa would give presents to all kids.
Well, what do you think about that? In Fred Claus, the whole theme of that movie, and there's a director's version of that wasn't released, that was gonna like really be heavy on that theme and less so on like the brother hijinks. But the theme of that movie is Vince Vaughn is Santa Claus's brother, and he's like, there are no naughty kids, you know, like what's up with this naughty list? Like every kid that's being naughty, like it's because of trauma. Basically, it's like this movie is maybe a new the version, the millennials and Generation Z and the alphas, maybe they'll move Santa Claus into this direction where the entire concept of naughtiness, it's like, let's not punish you for that, let's not blame you for that, let's try to rewind, find out what the trauma is and heal it, so we can all have gifts and nobody gets cold or eaten by the Krampus. To me, I think that's good. I think, some people think that's just communism, or every single time you try to soften society, you know what I mean, it results in catastrophe and stuff like that.
But maybe not.
Absolutely not.
Remember that movie Trapped in Paradise?
No,
dude, I never saw this until yesterday. And
wow,
it changed.
Holy cow! Is it a Christmas or just winter?
It's totally a Christmas movie.
Oh my god, I'm gonna watch this, dude.
It's the greatest Christmas movie.
I love all three of them.
I was like, what? There's a Dana Carvey, John
what year
Lovitz,
is this,
and Nick
bro?
Cage. I think it's 1994.
This looks like Vampire's Kiss and Nick Cage. He looks young.
Oh, it's so good, dude. It's really, really good. I mean, it's like, there's some funny, weird movies in the 80s and 90s that are kind of like, this kind of fits into that. It looks like it's supposed to be a campy, low budget kind of movie, but the premise is so it's so profound. Like this idea of these three gangster-esque guys from New York whose mother isn't very good and their family isn't very good, and they just got out of prison, right?
They're brothers.
They're brothers. They're like Italian.
Don't
brothers.
Spoil the ending, though. I'm gonna watch this tomorrow.
I won't. But it's like the fundamental idea is that they're gonna go to this place. It's like Minnesota or Pennsylvania, like it's in the snow, to rob a bank, and it's the place called Paradise. So the movie's called Trapped in Paradise because it's like they get snowed in and they just meet all of the people in the town. And all the people, and just like from my perspective of having like lived in Minnesota and some of these places, like living with nice, decent people will change you. It'll make you a better person, even if you think you're a good person.
Sounds like a Hallmark movie for dudes.
Dude, yeah, honestly, it's pretty based. It's pretty based. And like it's true. I mean, like when you give evil people or bad people you show them good things, you show them how to behave, like you model good behavior. I think maybe that's a big thing about Christmas is you're showing like generation after generation, like year after year until you're trained. I mean,
there's the reason that we associate this Christmas and New Year's and this time of year with redemption is because it marks the end of an actual natural cycle. You know what I mean? The 365 days. And with that comes a natural instinct towards accounting. You want to account. This is the end. The year is dying. You know what I mean? Just like the Ghost of Christmas Present. He in a day he lives and dies, and he's replaced by his younger brother. In the same sense, the year is dying. Literally, your year is dying. You're out. You ran out of time. You've got a couple days left. Just like Ebenezer Scrooge, who wakes up Christmas morning, but it's still enough time. All you need is one moment. You know what I mean? But if you don't get it this year, you can always get it next year. But you could have that one moment Christmas Eve. You could have your Ebenezer Scrooge moment Christmas morning, and it's still enough time to redeem that entire year. And if you think of how few years you get on Earth, and when you really do your accounting at the end of the year, are you really satisfied with it? I've never been satisfied with my year. I'm usually horrified and mourn the year and mourn all my stupid decisions and my failures. So, there's always that chance, you know what I mean, to have that Scrooge moment, and just fall on your knees and cry and not even beg for forgiveness or anything, but just consort with yourself and realize now that you know what you need, what you want to be doing and what feels right, which is giving and generosity. And then as soon as January 1st hits, you're like, but if I live in a smaller house, how generous am I going to be? If I give away all my money, then what can I give away? So it's like you right away, you're sucked back into more mortal concerns about your survival and stuff like that. But there's this chance at the end of the year to do this accounting and to redeem yourself and to redeem your year.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I think a lot of the time, a big part of the end of the year, like people get like seasonal depression, like you're talking about like the weather changing and like it's hard. I've had some.
I mean, after Christmas, you get seasonal depression. Think why that is. Why do you have depression the day after? It's because it's over. You're out of opportunities, and that's what A Christmas Carol is about. No one actually reads the book, but I read the book every year. Audiobook. It takes me about 1 hour to listen to the audiobook on 1.5 speed of Christmas Carol. But there's a lot of extra scenes in that when the ghost of Christmas past takes Scrooge to his window and Scrooge looks out the window. He can see all the Marleys, all the trap souls, all the people dragging around chains and coin boxes and safes and stuff. And what he realizes is the reason those people are moaning and wailing is because they know what they want to do is give, but they lost their opportunity forever. And now they're condemned to forever want to give and not to be able to. So when you get to that last day, when you get to Christmas with all these themes in your mind and instincts in your soul, this is your last chance to redeem this year, or else it's dead and gone. And eventually your life is going to be dead and gone. You won't have any opportunity to give, and you do, or at least I do every December, realize like how much more generous I should be and less concerned with survival.
Yeah. I mean, the Christmas Carol, you listen to it every year?
Yeah.
So, why you love it that much?
Oh, dude, the writing, people don't read anymore. I tell you this all the time. I feel like no one I ever do podcasts with reads novels. Dude, the prose, the art touches your heart. It opens up your heart to the concepts in a way, and it's shorter. You can listen to it in a shorter time than you can watch the George C. Scott one. Is pretty long. Even Muppet Christmas Carol is longer than it takes me to listen to the book. But the writing in it, like for instance, the Cratchits feast, when the Ghost of Christmas Present takes Scrooge to observe the Cratchits feast, their meager feast, just the language in that chapter about how good and juicy the goose is, and the pudding is the finest pudding ever made, and no one would have said it's a small pudding for a large family because that would have been sacrilege, you know what I mean? And just like it was the greatest goose ever cooked, the greatest meal ever had. And they're poor people having like an average meal, but to them, you know what I mean? They've given nothing up by being poor. And there's Scrooge with all his money locked away, taking his gruel alone by the fireplace. You know what I mean? He couldn't buy a good meal with all the money in the world, and these poor people have it. So it's the descriptive language though that in the writing is just really makes you understand, like, it just drives the themes home better, I guess. Reading is so important, man. I think this is a tragedy that people don't read novels anymore, because we wouldn't be where we are today if we didn't have the great tradition of German, British, French, and American writers in the 19th, 20th, and 21st century. We wouldn't be where we are today. We'd have a totally different society if people had only read the Cliff Notes. They wouldn't have any of the feelings.
Yeah, I mean, like, so, like, because of that, do you think that that's a major inspiration for like alt Christmas movies? Like, I mean, people really love, and I love it, like Die Hard and these Christmas movies, which aren't really, I mean, it's like people really want to push the point that they're.
I'm glad you brought up Die Hard, man, because what's his name? Hans, not Hans Gruber, obviously, but Hans. I forget Hans's last name, but Hans is essentially serving the function of the Christmas ghosts, and McClane is Scrooge because of his relationship with his wife.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
He didn't want to go with his wife. He didn't want to be there. He didn't, he would have rather not flown and not been with her for Christmas. And they're fighting. It's Christmas Eve and they're fighting, and that's how they leave it. And then he's separated from her for the whole movie. And so it's the terrorists that really play that role of exposing to him what's important. And not only is it important for him to prioritize his wife over his own comfort, but also it's important for him to accomplish it before Christmas is over too.
Wow. That's interesting. I hadn't thought of it really as a Scrooge movie.
There's really only two kinds of Christmas movies, you know what I mean? And one of them is the Scrooge, where the main character needs to learn a lesson and has to do it before Christmas. And if they do, then it's going to be, the outcome is going to be, and he saves, you save other people in the process. Like he saves that cop. There's a cop that had accidentally shot a kid. That's like the buddy that's talking to him on the walkie-talkie in the movie. And that guy gets redeemed too at the end of the movie. So already Bruce Willis sees it spreading. He's like, not only did I save my own, Christmas and relationship, but like it's already spreading and saving other people too. So
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Blast of Silence or The Apartment? I think is the other one. Like I was looking for.
No.
Both, like the Apartment. Jack Lemmon, is that right? Is kind of like a weird Christmas movie because like it's a dude who runs like an apartment building. It's like the winter season in New York, and he's got to deal with people that owe money, aren't paying on time, and it's sort of like it's a Christmas movie for people who hate Christmas or hate that time of year because it's so hard for them, right? Which I think like really plays into this idea of like so many people are confused. Why are we trying to have frivolity? Why are we trying to make light of this time of year? If it is so, people die, people get sad, and there's no sun.
Right. Like I hate the song Santa Claus, Do You Ever Come to the Ghetto? Because it's like whittle a toy, make a wooden toy. You know what I mean? You're too poor to come up with any kind of gift to give everyone something to rip open. I guess wrapping paper maybe is the thing you can't afford. Right. But everyone can have a gift, and it used to be handmade gifts. There's no such thing as there's no toy stores. You know what I mean? So it's like anything you got. It was the idea of getting something, and Christmas has become way too much about the gifts and the flash and stuff like that. But there's I understand how people's heart gets hardened to that because they see rich people, are frivolous. And Bill Maher actually said recently, like a brilliant quotation just came out of nowhere on his podcast where he said the ultimate privilege is to be impractical. You understand that the ultimate privilege is to act impractically. He was talking about the left and like people like, trans and stuff like that.
But it doesn't have to be a bad thing. It could be also just like if you're able to show that you can survive in this time of year, you're
right. Yeah. I mean, privileges are real. Privilege is like a victory over nature. Rights aren't real. Like rights don't exist. So people talk about rights and privileges, but like privilege is a
victory over nature.
Yeah. Privilege is a victory over nature. Like it's a privilege to sleep indoors, but it didn't come from nowhere. Like wealth is a privilege, but wealth doesn't come from nowhere. God gives you trees. You can turn them into stools and trade them with people for stuff. And then you have, wealth, you have capital, not capital, but you have, you potentialized your work, your time. You've turned your time into, you've potentialized it. I don't know the right way to say it, but I do think that the people who get hard-hearted towards Christmas because of wealth disparity, I think there's an onus on the wealthy people to first of all know and interact with these people and don't other yourself for them. I guess it's easier for me because I started poor and ended rich, so it's like I can relate a little bit to both, and I still, and everyone I know in the reggae scene is not everyone's dirt poor, but everyone's kind of poor. But I donated Christmas trees this year. I got my friend, one of my friends, she just had her first baby, and I didn't know, but her husband left her right before the baby came. And so I randomly was posting pictures from last Christmas, and I posted one with her, and she was like, "Oh, how are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm great. How was baby's first Christmas?" And she's like, "It's okay. No tree or decorations or anything." And I was like, "Oh, why not?" And she told me the story, and I was like, "Well," I was like, "if you're home right now, I'm about to come over with the Christmas tree." And I went straight to Home Depot with all my extra lights, tree stand, tinsel, everything, even a wreath. I have all this extra crap, So I drove straight
I got backup
there.
Christmas supplies just in case.
Well, just extra crap, And I went to Home Depot and got like a $50 tree and went right over there, And that was absolutely the highlight of my Christmas. No one's going to give me a gift. I don't want a gift. I've got too much crap anyhow. I'm looking for more opportunities to give. But then it does get so overwhelming when you think of the amount of poor people and homeless people in LA, and it's like you start to feel cynical and pessimistic again. Like, what can I really do? Like, I can help out a couple of friends at Christmas, but what, all year long am I just gonna, help out random strangers and stuff? And it's like it becomes overwhelming. But there's an onus on everyone who has any wealth. You owe it to, because you're connected as a collective organism to all the poor people too. So it's like it's the same way that you can't just live in a suburb and let all the cities collapse, because where are they going to go? They're going to come like barbarian hordes, or people call them locusts or whatever.
George Bernard Shaw said that the rich can avoid the plague until the poor get the plague. Then the rich get the plague. All right.
Yeah, I mean that sums it up totally perfectly. So we're not behaving, sensibly as an organism. We're thinking that other places that aren't our place don't affect us, but it's so small. The world is so small, and everything is so intricately connected. And so yeah, there's an onus on wealthy people to do that, and there's also an onus on poor people to keep a soft heart, at least at that time of year for the kids. You have to give the kids the inspiration. They have to see Christmas trees. They have to hear the music. They have to see people joyful and learn why it is once a year. Everyone's so happy. Like we have to integrate this into the youth. If we lose these traditions, you know what I mean? People's hearts are going to harden, and people are going to grow colder. And that's been the trend. Christmas got over commercialized, and now a lot of people reject it. But it is, it's not a Christian thing. It's not a religious thing. It's intrinsic to nature. There's something magical about the end of this solar cycle. You know what I mean? And we're supposed to behave a certain way, and that's supposed to influence our behavior the next year. Every year, we're supposed to behave a little bit better and to work on these problems a little bit. And obviously, we're a long way away from doing that.
I don't know whether to go to Alf or Black Christmas first. Which direction are we going first?
I'm not sure I know. Is like Black Santa? Let's do Alf, man. Alf is definitely my
All right. So first with Alf, because Alf's Christmas is really interesting to me because
my Jeopardy category is what I was trying to say.
Do you vaguely or rather well remember the Mr. Foley Christmas specials of Alf, where Alf is at first he doesn't know about Christmas. They bring a bunch of gifts. They go to the cabin, and it's like the cabin doesn't have electricity, which is very frustrating. So he brought the TV for no reason. And when he sees all these boxes, he opens the boxes because he doesn't understand like they're waiting for a day or why they're waiting for a day. So I find it really interesting because it's kind of like a child, right? It's also just trying to explain like we do these things. They are very weird. They are dogmatic, right? Like why we wait for this day or why we do that or whatever.
Right.
And then they meet Mr. Foley, the dude who's letting them stay there, and he's Black Santa. And Black Santa is interesting because historically we do have Black Pete, right? Which is Black Pete is the Schwartz Pite, and so the idea that Santa Claus may have even been, that St. Nicholas was black, right? And there's been distancing of both ideas. It's kind of interesting because people were kind of upset about this idea of a Black Santa, but it's interesting because this guy, he's doing exactly what you're doing. Like he's all about the spirit of Christmas at that time of year. And like, who else is going to do it? Who else do we know who's going to the children's hospital? And should he not do it because he's black? You know what I mean? Like, should he feel like he's not Santa enough to be Santa? And I think a lot of people feel that way for other reasons, right?
Oh my God. Yeah. I hate that. I mean, I think it's silly the way they do Black Santa, putting him in the same outfit, like he's coming from the Norse and he's all cold and stuff. Like, why would his skin be black? So it's kind of silly in that way, you know. Like, it should be like he should be dressed like someone who's, anyways.
Half of the year it's like sunny at the North Pole, right? Think about it. So,
yeah, but I mean, we actually have people up there and they're all white. So I mean, we could check that. But no, I mean, we should tell kids the truth, which is like, is Santa real? It's like yes and no. Like, yes, in the sense that it's a potential, just like so being shredded, you know, like you know, we could be shredded. We could take steroids and eat tons of protein and get shredded. We could become super generous and giving and loving and become Santa. We can become super evil. We can be depraved. We become like a Jeffrey Epstein or like a Serpentor, you know, and these are all potentials. So it's like Santa absolutely is real. The character Santa Claus, you know, tell kids the truth. Like, this is like, I would explain it like, you know, we already say he started normal and he became like, it's important that he got sainted. He wasn't born magical or an elf, you know, he was born mortal. That is the legend of Santa Claus. You know, I would just try to explain to kids the idea that like anyone can become Santa Claus. And, you know, you're not really lying. Even if your kids catch you putting the gifts under the tree yourself, be like, yeah, Santa is in me. You know, Santa Claus is real. He's in me right now, you know, at Christmas time. Like, he's inhabiting me. Like, let yourself get possessed by positive spirits. I would say, you know, I think it's like a positive, benign spirit, and I would let yourself get possessed by it. I'd do some, you know, just roll down your window and ho 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 as loud as you can and see if it doesn't feel good. But everybody, there's so much time left. There's 5 days left until Christmas. Like, I always tell people who are having a bad Christmas season, Ebenezer Scrooge literally woke up Christmas morning and he was like, thank God I didn't miss it. So there's like tons of time to redeem your year, to be more generous for the next 5 days than you were the rest of the year, you know, more soft-hearted.
KB says that she's got Alf paraphernalia. I mean, if it's close to your heart, keep it. But if anyone has Alf paraphernalia, send your Alf paraphernalia to P.O. Box 890, SOQUEL, California 95073 to find a good home for Alf paraphernalia.
Especially if it's a Christmas Alf.
Dude,
but yeah, I've got no problem with Black Santa at all. Like, if I, you know, because like if I was black and had black kids, I'd want them to know that it is me giving you the gifts, but it's like, you know, Santa's magic, you know? Like,
yeah. So I mean, but isn't it also kind of like an interesting metaphor, because like a lot of people watching the show are white. And so even you have to imagine yourself as Black Santa, you know, you have to imagine yourself as everything. So Black Santa becomes the metaphor of feeling like you're not Christmassy enough. Right. I think a lot of people, this is why, like for me, like for years, my favorite Christmas movie would have been like Eyes Wide Shut. Right. Because it's not a Christmas movie. When I was like 14, you know, until like 19, I would probably have said that though, you know, and then Die Hard became more and more of a Christmas movie for fundamental reasons. But why is it that people latch on to things like, you know, Black Christmas, which was made by the dude who made Porky's, by the way. And it's all about like, you know, violent, like some serial killer at Christmas time, you know, in Canada.
Because it's too painful to do that accounting of yourself and of your year. People would rather be ironic. I filed this under ironic Christmas, like SantaCon, going to a bunch of bars in the daytime and getting drunk. You throw up on your Santa suit and getting in fights in Santa suits. When I first heard about SantaCon, I was like, this is gonna be the best thing I ever went to in my life. And I went and I was like, this is the worst thing I ever went to. I didn't know people would go out of their way to defile Christmas. And I really had to think about it and the same with like Family Guy and Seth MacFarlane and stuff like that. They're afraid to do that accounting. They don't want to have that. I'll tell you the truth, Andreas, every single year, like at Thanksgiving, I'm like, I should put on a Christmas movie. I should get started. I always start late and regret it. I should put on music. And I'm so afraid to have that shock of realization, you know, that once again, you know, I didn't change in the ways I wanted to that year. And I cry, I weep and I cry. And I'm like, oh my God, I've got these 20 days left or whatever. Cause I never start as soon as I want to start. And I'm like, now I've got 20 days, you know, like, holy cow, it is so scary to start. It's way more easier to do 'Twas the Night Before, ironic, ugly sweater parties, you know, and SantaCon crap like that, you know, making fun of it, you know, and making change off of it. Just like, it's like you can put out a Christmas album, you can put out a Christmas sci-fi movie, a Christmas horror movie, whatever. Everything is ironic, you know, all of that is avoidance. All that is out of fear. If you really open your heart to that, it's a painful experience, you know, because you'll be ashamed of your year. I mean, all of us living in this modern era, like how can we not be ashamed of our behavior over the year, you know?
Oh, yeah, it depends. I mean, I guess a lot of it comes to like your New Year's resolutions. You know, if we didn't, those like that period of time is so important because we
Yeah.
decide what we're taking into account and what we plan on doing because of it.
Fear is so powerful, man, because I know how I'm going to be afraid when it comes to January. I'm like, I can't keep being like Santa Claus all year round. You know, like there's practical issues, you know, and it's not going to coincide with my creature comforts. Like, how am I going to be super generous, but then also live alone in a 3-bedroom house that I love with this awesome backyard and stuff like that? I'm like, I would have to downsize, and right away it gets scary. And I've got money but no family, so I'm like, if I just start giving away money willy nilly, I could end up homeless. And it's like, well, I'm going to end up dead. And on the day before I die, I'm going to be on my deathbed. My regret is going to be the same regret I have at the start of Christmas every year, that I didn't make change in the way I wanted to. And now I'm out of time, you know? So I don't want to wind up actually out of time on my deathbed with that feeling. So I got to get over this fear, this survival fear, and get more into generosity.
Man, you know, I mean, every day, every year, I think there's a point at the end of winter, like spring comes is kind of a gift in and of itself. Kind of like this gift of one Xirtus membership that Travis just gave. Merry Christmas, bro. Oh, and then also Sam for $4.99. We love you, Sam. 'Twas the Wednesday Ultra before Christmas, and all throughout the land at 10:30 p.m. The legend of Lord Blanket was reported from Sam Newsman. Oh, well, that's going to be interesting. Okay, so that could be good. We'll learn about Lord Blanket.
10:30. What time?
10:30 p.m. What time? See, this is where we live in. We gotta get.
Does that mean he's coming on this show at 9:30? I'm confused.
I think that's probably what he means. Depends on which
on our show.
Depends on which space.
So that would be like 7:30, and we finish at 8. Okay, so he's coming on for like the last half hour or something like that.
He usually does this. What is can you make a case for Elf with Will Ferrell's Elf? Is that worth your time?
Oh, I love Elf.
Yeah.
It's like in my top 3 favorite Christmas movies.
Okay, so why is Elf so great? Everyone says I love Elf.
Because it's not ironic.
I say I love Alf, they say they love Elf.
You know why this movie's amazing? Because it actually got made, and it's not ironic at all. You know what I mean? It's sweet. It's sentimental. You can tell the principals of this movie love Christmas and get what it's actually about. You know, it's a celebration, and it's but there's also, of course, the Ebenezer Scrooge story with James Caan's character. He has to have that, you know, that moment. And think how painful it is when you become that hardened to try to sing out loud, Santa Claus is coming to town. If you start singing that out loud right away, you're going to be transported to when you were a little kid, and you're going to, oh my God, I lost 50 years. I'm not at all like I wanted to be when I was a little kid. Holy crap. Thank God I have any time left to change right now. And then no one does. Next year, you just lose it again and get survival fear and everything. But yeah, Elf is amazing. But if you ask me more specific questions, I can say a lot about Elf.
I mean, it's been like, I haven't seen it since it came out. I'll have to rewatch it. Like, from what I recall, he's like a really earnest character. It's probably like it was like probably the most bearable Will Ferrell moment that I've had in life was watching Elf, by the way. But, you know, like, I think, you know, like the idea of there's like an 80s Christmas movie that it kind of reminded me of, like the elf that was evil, but he's not evil.
There's a lot going on in Elf. I mean, it's a lot like Stranger in a Strange Land. Like, instead of coming from Mars, he's coming from the North Pole, but he understands he's never been perverted away from natural behavior, you know, and his natural inclination is to be is peace and joy, and to you know, spread love amongst all mankind and love everybody. You know what I mean? Like, he's pure. He's like coming from a pure place, and he's coming here as a messenger to us, like Jesus Christ, to remind us, you know, that we've become lost and we've become caught up in mortal concerns that are super temporary. So there's a lot of important themes in Elf, but all of it is just a love letter to the feeling of Christmas, and not ironic at all. And I think it's interesting you mentioned you don't like Will Ferrell. I don't like him either, because all his movies are mean-spirited. I don't hate him, but all his movies are mean-spirited except for Elf. Even like Weatherman, what do you call it? Anchorman. There's like violence, there's gang fighting. He's kind of a scumbag. He usually in Step Brothers.
Yeah, the nude model that he did in SNL was like, yeah, I love that. That was
right. Yeah, I mean, he's always funny, you know, but he's usually playing negative characters that are just like oblivious and negative, so they get away with it. But I think that's the only movie that he's in that's like really like pure-hearted, you know, and positive.
I mean, the thing I remember is like the SNL where like the Love Oz, it was Barbara and Dave in the hot tub, where they're just like, yes, my lover, and they're really like both professors at like some.
What is this?
Like,
oh yeah.
That's all I always remember that, because like if you grew up in Santa Cruz and you knew those kinds of professors, you're just like, oh, bro, like this is too real for TV.
Also, Ed Asner's Santa Claus in I can't believe you've only watched that once 20 years ago, dude. That movie is
Elf,
since
yeah,
Sketchum.
I will. I'll
One of the
watch it
best
later.
soundtracks ever, too. I mean, Jon Favreau is so amazingly talented, man. If you really think about Iron Man and Elf, that is the same guy. It's like those movies are rare triumphs. Like the first Iron Man was like the movie that saved the whole superhero genre because it was so real. It was so realistic, you know, and it wasn't dumbed down or made for a target audience. It was like, this is going to be a movie that's funny and smart for everybody. You know what I mean? And it's not going to insult anyone's intelligence. It's not going to wink, you know?
How about Spirited? Have you seen the new Scrooge musical? With
I tried watching it, bro. It is impenetrable for me. I mean, if you think
Yeah.
the Santa Claus is too modern, this is like I couldn't. I thought honestly, the opening scene to me was so poorly written, acted, and directed. I was like, it can't get better. This is terrible. But kids love it. I know there's some kids. This is their favorite Christmas movie. So maybe it's just a.
All right, I'll give it. I mean, you know, it could be like worse or better. What was that? As a second ago, Silent Partner. Have you seen Silent Partner?
I don't think so.
Silent Partner with Christopher Plummer, and so it's like it's the dude who made L.A. Confidential, and so it's a Christmas, an alt Christmas movie, and I think it's worth watching because it's basically this dude's dressed up as Santa Claus and he's robbing banks and it's Christopher Plummer, you know what I mean? But he's got this whole plan and everything. And it seemed really interesting to me because it also ties into like Miracle on 34th Street. Because Miracle on 34th Street has that kind of idea of Santa Claus making
that whole movie is about explaining to the people what an egregore is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like all these letters are addressed to him and now they've been delivered to him. Ipso facto, he meets the legal definition of real, and we don't have any higher definition than that because legal definitions is what we're bound to because it's impossible with our level of intellect or just our hardware, our brain to actually nail these concepts. So we have to get as close as we can, and then we get a legal definition, but the actual definition, who knows? But yeah, he's an egregore. It's so funny, man, because autocorrect doesn't think egregore is a word, but it is. So I always forget how to spell that word. And then it's yeah. If you type that, autocorrect will ding you, whether it's like Google or Apple or anything. It's really funny.
They don't like good things, yeah.
Yeah, so all the letters are delivered to him ipso facto. Boom, you are Santa Claus. Santa Claus is real, and it's like okay, like now we've got to adjust our common conception.
I feel like there's two ways of taking Miracle. Like there's the Catholic way and the Masonic way. So on one hand, there's like the Masonic way, which is like, yeah, the post office ipso facto, everyone is accepting that he's Santa Claus because he needs to be Santa Claus because we need Santa Claus. So he fulfills the ritual and he becomes Santa Claus. And there's even the scene where he slaps Miracle 34 slap.
Yeah, the psychologist.
Yeah, which is like you, and so a lot of people would say like, why would Santa Claus ever slap anybody? But of course, you know, Saint Nicholas slap Arius. Like the history of Saint Nicholas is that he did slap, supposedly. At least this is one of the first myths about Santa Claus, right? Is that he slapped somebody. So it's something that like, if you're Catholic, it really like, it's like, yeah, no, this proves he's Santa Claus because he's more Santa Claus than people even realize. Like he's Santa Claus to levels of nuance that people don't even like to admit what Santa Claus is. But, you know, on the other hand, it's like, it doesn't matter because at the end of the movie, everyone does what they have to do to make the miracle real. Like there's a house for sale, they
right?
Buy the house. And the way it works is everyone has to contribute love.
The Santa Claus is a direct ripoff off of this theme from Miracle on 34th Street, where everyone's setting out to the mother is playing the Judge Reinhold character that wants the little girl to face facts and just tell her Santa Claus isn't real from the beginning. Then the love interest is the mother from the Santa Claus, who's more whimsical and frivolous. And it's like, oh, it's fun. Kids love Santa. Like, what's the harm? Let's give her a good Christmas. She's, I don't want to confuse her with lies, So it's like kind of gender reversal of the Judge Reinhold and the mom from Santa Claus. And then not only does the little girl end up being convinced, but then also both of the parents are convinced. So it's really similar to Santa Claus. And nothing magical happens in this movie, by the way. It is not concluded that he is Santa Claus. I'm going to spoil the ending in case anyone hasn't seen a movie from before they were born, but the little girl has always wanted a house with a certain kind of layout of the backyard and stuff like that. And when they're leaving at the end of the movie, it's kind of convoluted, but Santa Claus gives them directions. He's like, take this shortcut through a suburb. And they're like following written directions. And they're like, all of a sudden, the address they're at is some house, and the girl just runs in and sees it. And it seems like magical. Like, how could he have gotten this little girl's wish, the house? And there's a cane leaning against the fireplace that's like his cane. He could have just secretly been a rich guy that bought the house, and gifted, because, oh, you're muted. You're muted.
I think that they're buying the house, though. The adults get there. The house is like $5,000, and he's been saying he wanted to move out of the apartment.
Right. Yeah. What I'm saying is nothing magical happened. He could have done that without being Santa Claus, but they're all convinced anyway, because he did something. Somebody helped them in this way. Somebody led them to this house. He
performed a mitzvah. He's like,
somebody did something for them, and they were questioning this guy's legitimacy. So then, when they see his generosity, then they're convinced, not that they think they're convinced that he's Santa Claus, but they're actually convinced that everyone has the potential to inhabit that spirit.
Dude, what about the night they saved Christmas? Do you remember that one?
Which one?
The night they saved Christmas. It's like an oil company is about to just like frack the North Pole, and it
looks very 90s, but somehow I don't think
it's the 80s.
They're fracking in the 80s.
The Night They Saved Christmas, 1984. Yeah, American made-for-TV fantasy film directed by Jackie Cooper, who did
never heard of it, man. I don't know where you get this stuff.
Yeah, no, this one's rad. This is like a Disney one. So basically, this giant oil company is gonna frack up in like Alaska or in like north of Iceland or something like that, and it's causing damage to the North Pole and the elves, and there's like environmental damage. So this elf is sent to have to like try to convince of the environmental disaster. They would destroy Christmas, essentially. It'll make it impossible. And like Santa Claus would have to move, and all kinds of things are going down. It's like the craziest Christmas movie. And they have a Batmobile. Like the Santa Claus sleigh is more like a Batmobile. It's freaking amazing. I think this is an underrated.
Can't comment on it. It looks really weird.
It's so good. Yeah, I recommend this one to everybody who loves
Christmas. I got to remember the title. What was the Nicolas Cage one, though? I didn't write this down, but
that one's called Trapped in Paradise.
Trapped in Paradise. Gotcha. That's a hard title for a holiday movie. Hey, before we move off too far away from Miracle on 34th Street, do you want to know something really interesting about that I bet you don't know? It wasn't a Christmas movie. It released in June, and all the trailers said was this will be the trailers were meta. Instead of trailers that are scenes edited together in the movie, they shot new footage of actors playing ad execs telling you about the movie. And they were like, this will be the most shocking, life-altering. They never mentioned Christmas, and it came out in June. So people went in there having no idea what they were going into. It was a genre bait and switch, which has never been done since. There's never been like a romantic comedy where you go to it and all of a sudden it's secretly a horror movie, and halfway through the romantic comedy, everyone starts getting, murdered and it becomes all gory. That's never been done in cinema except for that one time, as far as I know. Cabin in the Woods, maybe a little bit.
That's crazy. Oh man, I like that they did that. Yeah, they used to do these kinds of commercials, like a shop around the corner, which was just like, I mean, the old commercials were like, well, we're filming the movie right now, so what we'll do is we'll film like a little like introduction about the thing, and we don't have the film ready from dailies to like put out a trailer yet, so trailers weren't the same yet, which was pretty sweet. What was the other one? Yeah, Black Santa. Okay, we talked a little bit about Befana, La Befana. So Befana is interesting because she's in the Santa Claus show, and people talk about this witch. And so La Befana is the Epiphany witch. And so the idea is that, and so she's real, like in the Disney. If I just type that, will that show up? Yeah,
I'm not familiar with this character aside from that one, the Santa Claus.
She's like pretty important in the season 2, because like the daughter of Santa Claus is going to become a witch. She's got like Christmas magic, Christmas witch stuff. So I'm sure she's going to be like, I don't know, like what's that called? Like female Christmas Slavic. There's like a thing. There's a whole other thing like the White Witch. Is that it? Koliana or something?
Well, yeah, there's good witches and bad witches, right?
Totally. Yeah. So they got like a winter solstice witch that's probably going to, that's my call on the show. But Befana is not that. Befana is an Italian tradition that after Christmas, at Epiphany, this witch goes around giving presents, right, to kids, essentially. So the three magi went to visit Santa Claus. They asked Befana for directions. She doesn't go with them. They offer her to go with them, and she doesn't go because she's busy or she doesn't believe them or something like that. She has a change. She offers them a shelter for the night, though, and she's the best housekeeper of the village. She said she was too busy for housework. That's why. Later, she had a change of heart. She tried to search out the astrologers and Jesus. That night, she's not able to find them. So to this day, Befana is searching for the little baby Jesus. She leaves all the good children toys and candy, caramel, or fruit, while the bad children get coal or dark candy, carbone, onions, or garlic, right? So
those are useful, onions and garlic. I mean,
yeah, because it helps you ward against evil. Exactly. So Befana's not bad, and it's interesting because they did the idea of incorporating her. And again, I like when they're. Did I not have any of that up just now? That sucks. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Befana.
Oh yeah, you didn't have it up.
That's okay. It's not a huge deal. Befana, though, she's like not an evil witch. Is the point? You know, she's like she's on the level with a magi. You know,
I'm always touched when I see like images of some people. You know, there's certain people who almost everybody does this kind of pagan Christian with the trees and the lights and all the stuff that I like. And then certain Christians like hate Santa, think Santa is Satan because they don't know about etymology or history. And so they do a totally different kind of Christmas. It's just all about Jesus, and they go to churches that don't put up Christmas trees and stuff like that. I've always been touched by the imagery of Santa kneeling at the at baby Jesus. I was going to say the crib, but he's in the hay, I guess. I always like that image because to me, it's the same spirit, just by a different name. And so Santa's almost like acknowledging like this guy's.
I've never seen one of these before.
Almost like the Santa Claus, but as you're seeing the person that was just born that's going to take your job or something, you know, it's like this guy's going to be the next Santa or like another Santa or something like that. I always like that. Yeah. It doesn't bother me at all.
I've never seen it. I love it. I don't know why I've never seen this before. This is great. This is,
yeah, there's tons of those.
Dude, never seen one. That's insane.
A lot of people think it's really sacrilegious, and a lot of people think Santa is Satan. But I think those people are afraid of the actual truth. I think most Christians on either side are afraid of the actual truth, and most people in general are afraid of facing actual
I think we
truth.
need more Befana. I think having like the Christmas witch would be like a good, like it's very, this is, you know, it's in our modern contemporaneous culture. They like witches.
Let's dress her like a good witch then, and all in white, like winter solstice or something. I mean,
well, she tends to wear like
Halloween
colorful. She usually wears colorful patchwork and stuff like that. She doesn't.
It looks like almost like Mrs. Claus might have like usurped her character.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Actually, that might be a thing. That could be its own.
The Santa Claus 2 is the only movie to ever get Mrs. Claus right, and they did an amazing job with that.
Santa Claus 2, is that the one where he marries her?
It's the greatest romance of all time. It's the only romance movie I like. Or like,
so this movie terrified me. Maybe I'm missing the thing here, but because like what I see is like there's a dude who's running out of time,
right?
And he's using up all the money and magic he has left in order to trick this girl into like becoming an old, like she's about to become white-haired and old, like instantly, as in fat, and all this stuff's gonna happen to her. And he's like tricking her into it. But then again, maybe as I get older, I realize like that's like awesome, and like that's what he like. That's like the
that he does set off with the negative intention because he's got to have a character arc, even though he already became Santa Claus and was like saved at the end of the first movie. If you're going to make another movie, he's got to have another flaw that he's got to redeem himself.
Well, what's the negative intention?
That one, he is trying to. He's not telling her the truth. You know, he's trying to make someone fall in love with him so he can marry them that day. You know what I mean? But by the end of the movie, he actually does fall in love with her, and I don't know. I can't put that part into words that well, but it's a beautiful story. There's an amazing scene where he takes her on a sleigh ride and uses his magic to make it slow and snow and everything, and it's done in one take where they have this long conversation in one take, and it really does seem like they're falling in love. And then he does he performs miracles she takes him to an office Christmas party, and it's so boring, so he pulls out a toy bag and he gets everyone's childhood favorite toy, and everyone's sitting on the floor Indian style playing with each other and stuff at like a grown-up office Christmas party. And he just gives her this magical night. And then he tells her, you know, the truth is I'm Santa Claus, and she's offended. She's like, you're making fun of me, and like kicks him out and everything. So it's they both do grow and learn. And this is like the kid's principle too. The kid hated her, and then at the end, the kid wants her to be his mother. So a lot of it is about family dynamics and like sacrificing.
It's also about like you're gonna grow old. Is like the thing, like everyone, like this is like they're at their
right.
Their
as soon as she says "I do," he turns into a fat old man and flies
but
away.
she does too, right? She gets old too.
Well, in the ending,
because that does happen if you get married in your late 30s.
But it's well, I don't know if it's canon. I think that's like a blooper, but I love that they put her in the fat suit at the end of the movie and she's dancing around all jolly. But then in the Santa Claus 3, same actress, skinny,
and they decided that wouldn't be good. Yeah.
It would
I
have
think
been good. It would have
I
been
think-
good. They should have done that. You're right, because that is another. I didn't even think of that, but it's like I always thought of it in a funny way. Like imagine you say "I do," and then the person gets fat and old right in front of you. You're
Yeah.
like, that sucks. And then also they're like, "And I'm out of here. Have fun with the elves for a little while," you know. But yeah, it's like if you could see someone when they're like old, you know, would you still accept them, or you're not?
Dude,
you
I
know?
remember Tomorrowland at Disneyland and Disney World. They had this thing. They took your face and then they show you what you'd look like old. And they especially
Wow.
like to do that if you're in a couple. Abiza from Nigeria is here.
Oh, wow.
How you doing, bro? Can you hear us? I don't know if Abiza can hear us because he's in Nigeria.
I
That's
can't
hard.
hear him.
Yo, Abiza, if you can, let us know. We're talking about Christmas spirit. I'm kind of curious about Nigerian Santa Claus. I don't know if there's like a Nigerian Christmas. There has to be, right? Because you guys have Christianity and Islam and everything else, so there must be like Nigerian Christmas culture. There's some cool picture right there. Look at this guy right here.
Oh, wow.
I have no context to know like what they're doing at Christmas time.
Well, I mean, I would bet you, I have no idea either, but I would bet you they know it's the end of a cycle and it's important.
Right.
I bet you everyone on Earth knows that. Even, I mean, you don't have to be at the Northern Lights, or you don't have to see the seasons even change. I'm sure everyone understands, you know, that time is marked in their cycles.
Many towns in Nigeria are emptied to ancestral villages where they spend time with their family and to bless those who are less fortunate. The major gift shared during Christmas in Nigeria is either money or materials. Exchanging Christmas cards is not particularly part of Nigerian culture. People usually go to Christmas on Christmas Eve and begin celebrating immediately afterwards. Loud music is played when they return from church, and people begin to enjoy traditional wine of Nigeria, palm wine. Everyone drinks and dances on Christmas Eve and saves the Christmas food for Christmas Day. Christmas Eve is the time when people discuss their lives in the city. This lasts until midnight or sometimes until early the next morning. Then people wake up to greet each other with a Merry Christmas in their respective languages. Many different languages are spoken in Nigeria. In Hausa, Merry Christmas is Barka da Kirismati. In Yoruba, it is Eku Odin U Eku Iudin. In Fulani, it is Jabama Be Sala Kirismati. In Igbo, it is E Kirismaisi Oma. In Ibibo, it is Adara Ukapade Iswaya. And Edo is Merry Christmas is Isologbe. Isologbe. I like that one. That's quick and easy. Isologbe.
Yeah, I mean, like all the terms like Merry Christmas and stuff are like kind of, you know, it sounds musical to me, but it means the same thing in any language.
Can we hear you? Are you there? What's up? I know you're Nigerian. The audio is probably poor, but what's up? Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you great.
Yeah.
Actually, you sound good.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be here. The audio has been breaking, but now I think I can connect perfectly.
Cool. So
Yeah.
we're talking about Christmas, and we just mentioned in Nigeria this idea of Christmas. What's the rundown? Give me a rundown on Nigerian Christmas. Do you go to your family? What do you guys do for Christmas? How's it uniquely Nigerian?
Yes, Christmas in Nigeria has become a cultural thing, and every culture, every tribe, they bring their different cultural practice and mix it with Christmas every year. Like you said, I'm from Edo State. I'm Benin by tribe, and in my tribe, we say Iselogbe. Iselogbe is a way of wishing somebody a Merry Christmas in Edo State, in Edo culture. And during this period, people from different parts of the country, they come to their home, to their family members to join them and celebrate. You understand? And many a time, you know, Africa is a communal state. When you cook as an African, as a Christian African, you share that food to your neighbors. You share food to your neighbors, to the less privileged, and especially even if your neighbors are rich, at least you must share food to them. It's a sign of brotherhood. So that is why I say they always bring cultural theme. You know, every culture, despite the fact that Christianity is foreign to us, but we still have a way of bringing our own ancestral practice into it to spice it up.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What was the time of year significant in Nigeria before the Christian influence? Was there any kind of celebration at that time of year, or do do you mark the ending of the year at a different time because of your seasons, or?
Yes, of course, of course. Like I said, I'm from the Benin culture, and the Benin culture is a very, very, very popular culture in Nigeria. We have what we call the Igwe Festival. The Igwe Festival is the annual festival in which the Oba celebrates his magical power celebration of the Oba. You understand? So during this Igwe festival, a lot of activities, a lot of rituals are performed. Yes, some days the people of this culture, they stay indoors to perform their rituals. They also cook just the same way the Christians do. They worship their ancestors, and then they practice all kinds of magic. It's a form of festival. And when you go to the east, you have what we call the New Yam Festival. The New Yam Festival is a period where the Igbos of Nigeria, they celebrate the harvesting of a new yam. When the new yams are harvested, these people, they come together, they perform a lot of rituals. It's a way of thanking the gods of the land for the production. You understand? So
and keeping keeping the yams from rotting, right? There's like a protection.
Yes. So a lot of festivals like that. And in fact, in that of the Igwe festival, that is very, 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 very significant, because the Oba of Benin is just like Jesus Christ. If I can say that, yes, it's just like Jesus Christ, because we call him the representation of the gods. He's a custodian of the religion. You understand? So in that case, he performs a lot of magic. He displays a lot of magic, and people will be happy. They'll be jubilating. People worship him. Some people actually who are very traditional. So it is a very big tradition. In fact, in this Igwe festival, even people, indigenous from abroad, they even come home to come and receive the blessings of that celebration. It is that big. So a lot of celebration goes on in different culture, depending on the tradition of that culture. It is only in a Muslim community that you see that Islam has totally wiped off their traditional celebration. But in most of the Christian community, I know Christians occupy the southern part of Nigeria, while Muslims occupy the northern part of Nigeria. When you go to the southern part of Nigeria, you still see people missing their tradition despite the fact that they are Christians. So even the Oba has a church, but the church is Africanized. The church is Africanized in the sense that the way they bring up they mix Christianity, they mix the Bible with some kind of African practice, trying to make Christianity, presentable to the Africans, so that the traditional people can relate with Christianity. So that is how it is.
You're muted.
I'm sorry, I was just looking up Islamic holidays as well, because I know Islam is a major religion in Nigeria. Is there anything like, what kind of winter holiday happens is there for the Muslims?
Ramadan, but it's not at the end of the solar year.
Right.
Yes. The Islamic calendar is a very unique one, very, very different from the Western calendar. And there are two major holidays, the Ramadan, which is the month of fasting, and the Eid Kabir. Eid Kabir is the one that they call it the very big, the one that is the very big celebration in Islam. So the thing is that most of the Muslims, they don't bring their tradition into Islam. They practice Islam according to the way the Arabs present it to them. But the Christian, most of the Christians, they practice their own, and they bring their traditional worship and mix it with it, because they believe that, yes, they believe that the God is for everybody, and there is no way you can, unless some people like the Jehovah's Witness and some of these very unique sects, these are the only people that they don't want tradition into Christianity. But an average African will always bring his own tradition into Christianity. But Muslims are not like that. They are very straightforward in practicing their own according to the Arab, and they follow strictly what other Muslims from other parts of the world are saying, or what the rules and regulation of Islam. They follow it strictly. You understand? But in Christianity, you can just come up with something, and according to the way the culture want it.
Yeah. I love Happy New Yam. I'm actually more into that than New Year. I've never really loved New Year's that much. I'm a Christmas guy, but I like the idea of New Yam. New Yam sounds like a good holiday to me.
Pretty practical.
I love yams. Ironically, I don't know if you know this, Ibiza, but we eat a ton of yams at Christmas time. Did you know that? It's part of the Christmas dinner in America and England. We make candied yams. We slice the yams and bake them with butter and cinnamon and brown sugar, and then some people put marshmallow on top and make that crispy. Yeah,
I actually like that a lot. Candied
yams is a big part of Christmas.
Yeah. Yams with marshmallows, bro. That's like, yeah.
It's amazing. People all over the world understand cycles and timing and stuff like that. Somebody in the chat was saying in the Southern Hemisphere, Christmas is a summer holiday, but it's not a summer holiday. It's an end of the solar year holiday. And all of us in our DNA know when it's the end of a solar cycle, and there's significance to it. It's how we mark the time of our life.
Yes.
Everyone wants to examine their self and examine their year, all around the world.
And then again, there are people, despite the fact that they are Christians, they don't celebrate Christmas. They don't celebrate Christmas because they think that it has some very, very occultic, connotation in it. And in Nigeria, we have the deeper life Christians. They call them the deeper life Christians. They are very traditional, and they don't observe any kind of celebration at all. They don't observe it because they think that Jesus Christ did not observe any celebration. They don't also go with it. Yes.
Wow, this is terrifying. Deeper life Christianity sounds like the most terrifying thing I've ever heard. It's like pure.
Well, I mean, it's true. According to the Bible, Jesus does say, observe the high holy days, which are the Jewish high holy days. But I mean, the Bible's just a book.
Yeah, but do they observe, like, what are the deeper life? I mean, the hats, like,
it's the same thing as
Calvinists,
as Muslims. It's like it's very dogmatic, where you can't integrate your own traditions. You have to shed your own customs and history. Yeah,
I'm very afraid of things that make you shed your own culture.
Yeah, I don't like that. I think it's good to honor your traditions and honor your ancestors, but not to hold them above other people. To understand everyone's the same. Everyone should honor their own ancestors.
Apostolic Faith Church of Oregon started this. Yeah, see, it's always some Western group that like goes into Africa, and I find that really weird because it's like, then you're like, trust me, I know Jesus. Like, oh yeah, what did he look like? What color were his eyes? Like, I didn't see him myself. Did your father see him? No. But like, you want me to believe in this Jesus of yours? It's like, I can believe, but like, I don't even know what you're telling me to believe. Like, you're telling me to believe in this picture. Did you draw that picture? Do you believe Jesus looked like that? Like, I don't even. A lot of these ministers don't know the fundamental material answers, which I think matter to like native people.
Yeah.
In Africa, the reason people believe so much in Christianity is because, Africa is a very magical state with a lot of witchcraft practices. So many people who are not very, very, deep into witchcraft, who believe that they can be affected by the witchcraft, they therefore seek refuge in Christianity with the belief that Jesus Christ or Christianity is a way that can save them from witchcraft. Like for me, for example, I'm from a traditional family, and like I always told you, every family has a shrine. In my own culture, every family has a shrine, and sometimes some of these shrines, some of these gods, some are stronger than others. You understand? So with the advent of Christianity, with the preaching that Jesus Christ can conquer all these things and Christianity can subdue all these powers, so people decided to follow Christianity and all that. So, but despite the fact that they follow this Christianity, it is very, 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 very personal to like. It's very rampant in my culture that most of these people, after they go to church, they still go to their shrine to go and perform their rituals. So that is why even during celebration, they mix it up because they have been used to the celebration of some holidays of the gods, so they will use that as a way of understanding Christmas too. So celebrate Christmas. That is the way they do it. Yes, like
What
during
about?
Christmas,
Oh, go ahead.
yeah, like during Christmas, you cook some food. Like in my tradition, you cook pounded yam. You know what we call pounded yam? Pounded yam is something it's a food that is very significant because you don't give the gods any kind of food. There are some food you give to the gods, like rice. You don't always give it to the gods, but something that is made of yam, because I'm from a culture where yam is very, very, is one of the most popular agricultural produce. So yes,
And
so
you're saying you give it to a ghost?
the ancestors.
Yeah, ghost. Yeah, that's
Yes.
funny.
Let's say Geist, just so it was even more clear.
In Jewish tradition, at Passover, you leave an empty seat at the table for the prophet Elijah, and you serve him a plate of food and a glass of wine, and just let it sit there. So, and also in Christianity, for Santa Claus, you leave out a glass of milk and cookies. Same thing, feeding the ghost.
Yes. That is it.
What about this? What about this mask here for the Yam Festival? So I know that like the Bibio have these like interesting masks that they wear. Like, what is the purpose of wearing a mask for the ritual? And also, what is like? Do you know what the symbolism is here for this one? Like the rat or mouse or whatever that is on his head.
Yeah, you see these masks. Most of the culture, they have a lot of masks. And mask in Africa, they represent so many things. For example, it represents the power of the gods. We want to differentiate the gods from the ordinary human. You understand? So in other culture, these masks are also some kind of heroes. So like they carve a particular hero that have died so many years ago, particular ancestors, they use these particular marks to continue to represent such an ancestor. Like in the Benin tradition, we have Queen Idia of Benin. Yes, she was one of the most popular and one of the most powerful magical women in the city of Benin. And up to now, her mask is still during festival. They display this mask and all that just to show you that yes, we have this kind of power, we have this kind of ancestor, in the city or in Benin. So masks are used for different purposes in Africa. But basically, when you see some of these masks, they are used to differentiate humans from gods. You understand? So when you wear those masks, by putting on those masks, you are trying to exhibit your power to make people terrified that yes, you are having some kind of power that you can use to do a lot of things. That is the main purpose of the mask. Yes.
It's really interesting because it's exactly the same for us. We have this idea of putting the Santa Claus on. Fathers will dress as Santa Claus, and we think it's really important for, you to become the spirit of Christmas. Christmas is this ancestor, Saint Nicholas. Even Idia's Phrygian cap, this kind of weird fishnet she wears over her hair, reminds me of the Santa Claus hat, to an extent.
And the Smurfs, that looks a lot like a Smurf hat.
Dude, totally. The Smurfs were black. We knew that. But I mean, so
well,
yeah,
it's an encouraging conversation. Like I feel more than ever, it doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter if you have a white Santa or a black Santa or a white Jesus or a black Jesus or anything. Like people are feeling the same instincts to celebrate at the same time in the same general fashion, and then they're weaving into it their history and their local customs, which is where we get the more kind of fringe, harder to understand why they're part of it thing. But I like that too. I think it's good that people integrate their own traditions to keep it alive. And there's no reason to have a preference for your own Santa. Like in America, a lot of people, they made black Santa for black people. So it's like white people buy white Santa toys or whatever. Black people buy black Santa toys. And a lot of people think that's bad. I think it's good and bad. If people really understood the reasoning and the purpose, I think it's,
of course.
It's good.
A friend of mine has the elf on the shelf. He's got Snoop on a stoop, which I think is way cooler. So you can definitely do that. But I'm still curious because Mickey Mouse. Is there anything with this mouse? Like, can you think of anything at the Bibio, like, or with Idia or any of the Yam Festival, why there would be a rat or a mouse, or if that's not that?
Yeah, I can't really tell you much about the BBO culture. You know, Nigeria is a very, very large country, and the BBO, they are one of the minority tribes in Nigeria. You understand?
And they like to keep secrets, like tribes keep their secret lore. Yeah.
Yeah, there are so many things that are very sacred in many African culture. There are many things out there that are not yet in the internet, probably because the people are not yet very, very conversant with or how to publicize some of these things. They don't know how to publicize it. So, funny enough, the custodians of some of these deities, the custodians of some of these masks, they are not social media people, or they are, yes, they are people that are very traditional. And if you want to get information from them, you have to go to their very shrine, and most of them, they are in the interior villages. Do you understand? So that is why sometimes when you see some of these masks in the internet, people probably put it up in the internet, and the narrative, when you listen to the narrative on the social media, and you go to where these traditions are really practiced and listen to the narrative again, sometimes you may have a different view. So I will not speculate about it. That is what I'm talking about.
That's fair. Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, any thoughts also on maybe like this? Because in Christmas, it's really, we talked earlier about this idea of like the vicious Santa Claus, right? Like there used to be in European lore that Santa Claus was rewarded good children, but essentially ate bad children, not just gave them coal. And there was Krampus and these other characters, which are even like just specifically like to divide Santa Claus into he's always good and these characters are the villains and look out for the bad Santa. Is there anything like that in like the Nigerian in your tribal culture, like kind of like be aware and be afraid of the Krampus, be good, don't be bad, or else being bad you'll be caught up in evil ghosts, guys.
Of course, the hallmark when you go to any community now in most of these Nigerian communities, you will realize that the message are the same, despite the fact that the practices might be different in one way or the other, but the messages are the same. I will always bring Ubuntu into it. Like I said, the African society is a communal society, and there is no way you cannot talk of anything except in relation to another person, except in relation to the community. So, kindness, giving are the major virtues that people practice at this particular season. Even people who are very bad, even people who do not give at all, when you go to their home, in fact, visiting people these days during this period of celebration, they give you food and you cannot reject it. You have to eat. Even if you are filled, you have to just test it. It's a sign that yes, I accept the love, I accept the care and all that. So there is so much love and care, people show to one another during this period. Yes.
And
Mm.
but like, so what can you think of a character that's like kind of this, like evil Santa? Like, is there kind of like what is kind of like the beware children, be good or else it will get you?
Yes. Like in my tradition, we have different kinds of bad characters, in history. People we used to represent. We don't have the idea of devil in my
So it's
culture.
like someone who becomes evil enough that the evil is immortal.
Yes, yeah, I'm making a point. In my tradition, we don't have the kind of devil that the Christians have. You understand? We don't see devil. We always see devil as a kind of power that. So when you please the devil, it will help you. And when you do things that are not in line with what you are supposed to do, when you do things that are not in conversation with the show, that is the only way the devil can hurt you. So w- devil is a kind of power. So we don't have the idea of devil like a being that is eternally evil. eternally evil, just an enemy all the time. We don't have it like that. So in my tradition, for example, we have Oju. We have what we call Esu. We have what we call Ekwe soup. Different names like that for different deities who can be malicious to the person who do things that are not good. You know, God is eternally good, but the devils can be good and can be bad depending on how you pleases the devil. You understand? When I say pleases the devil, I don't mean worshiping him, but I'm saying, for example, somebody who do bad things. If that person do bad things, devil has the opportunity to strike that person, and that person will not be, will not be show mercy because the person has done something that is not good. But somebody who always do good things, we believe that the devil cannot hurt such a person. Even if the devil hurt such a person, we still see it as a way of maybe it's a kind of test. You understand? So these are some of the things. But the idea of a particular character that if you hurt that particular character, or maybe the character is just constantly doing bad things, we don't have it. You understand? So in fact, the idea of devil does not exist in my culture. The idea of devil does not exist. But we have different kind of character that people can actually use some kind of manipulation to make this character hurt people, depending on how you are dedicated to a particular character. Like in my own family, we have different kinds of gods. For example, we have the Ogun. The Ogun is the god of iron in Edo State. As the god of iron, there are some families that are very dedicated to worshiping these particular gods. And when you worship these particular gods can make the family very productive, very, very productive. But this same Ogun, if you are not doing things that are very good, the same Ogun can also be of a very, very, bad thing to the community or to the people. You understand?
Yeah. I've never liked the concept of the devil, that there's just this guy and he's the enemy and everything's his fault. It's so obvious that we all have these potentials within us to be swayed one way or the other and become these archetypes, become an evil person or a good person. But the idea that it's someone else's fault, some devil somewhere is tricking you, is we all have these potentials to become like a Santa Claus or to become like the devil.
Yeah, I like so a couple of things on that. Like one, Christmas Carol comes up again because in Christmas Carol, it's not really like the devil, it's geists. It's like the zeitgeist. You got and it's zeit in the most literal sense. You got the contemporaneous ghost of the present, you got the literal zeitgeist, you've got the ghost of the past, and you've got the ghost of the future, right? And so it's kind of these are ghosts which are trapped essentially, although one of them doesn't seem very trapped, like the ghost of the present. Who's the big guy?
They were never humans. Those ghosts were never human to begin with. Those are like natural.
Who's his friend who's in chains? Is that
that's Marley?
Okay, so Marley's not really.
That's Robert Marley, his partner that died. But in that mythology, everyone that dies being a selfish person and not giving and loving is doomed to an eternity of wishing they could do that, but not having the opportunity.
I mean, so someone brings up the point that like Nigerian Christians are like that group you were pointing out earlier, are into the devil, or like they believe in a devil and they think the devil's bad and they're trying to stop the devil. What do you think it is like if you've never had a devil in your culture and they introduce the idea of the devil? Like it's so tempting to, put all the evil outside of yourself into the devil,
Yes, in African culture, before the Christian missionary came to Africa, Africa had their traditional religion. They had their traditional religion that were practicing very perfectly. But this traditional religion, they were misunderstood. You understand? Because of the way people were making some sacrifices to them, and people make all kinds of crazy sacrifices to these deities. So when Christianity came and Christianity said, no, you don't have to kill anything again. You don't have to do all this crazy sacrifice before your God can answer you. So people definitely choose Christianity. Some will definitely choose Christianity over the traditional religion, because in this one they say you must sacrifice your goat, you must sacrifice your ram, you must kill this and that, for the gods to listen to you, for you to have the the mercy of the gods very well. But in Christianity, Christianity said no, you just have to say you accept Jesus Christ, and everything is just very, very easy, and Jesus Christ is so powerful. So that was the reason most of the people choose Christianity. But because of some cultures who are very deeply rooted in their traditional culture, it is still very, very difficult for these people to abandon their traditional culture. So what they do, in fact, let me even tell you, there are some pastors, there are some different kinds of people
that do chicken sacrifices. Yeah.
Yes, who practice these sacrifices, and some of them even believe that these traditional powers can still help you, even in you understand. So yes, people are still trying to merge the two in such a way that the ordinary people, the traditional people, can relate with Christianity. Otherwise, Christianity will become completely alien. Yes, the idea of the devil, I must say it again, it was introduced to Africa, because I cannot think of any character in the history of Africa, that you can completely say this is the devil.
What about hell? Did you guys have the conception of hell before Christians came? Eternal damnation?
No, we don't even have the conception
this is the great trick of Christian missionaries. It's so tricky. First, they tell you there's a fate where everyone on earth knows about death. Christians invented double death, going to hell, eternal damnation. So it's not bad enough you die. Now you're going to eternally suffer a fate worse than death. So first you scare someone with that. You could, most people think maybe I have a bad life or a bad death, but then I'm dead. No, now you're going to suffer forever after that. Oh my God, what do I have to do to escape it? Just say one thing. Say one thing one time. Say Jesus Christ and you're done. Yeah, it alleviates you of all the responsibilities to grow as a person.
Yeah. So the idea of heaven and hell did not exist in African culture before the coming of the Christian faith. In fact, what the Africans believe is the ancestorhood and reincarnation. With those two major, concepts, they were able to explain existence. Like, although most of the time people mistake the African conception of reincarnation and ancestorhood in a way, because they say, if somebody is in the world of the ancestors, how can the same person reincarnate again? But reincarnation in Africa is a thing of force. It's not something that is you don't reincarnate the person per se. You reincarnate the character of the person. Do you understand? So one person, is possible that a particular person can reincarnate even in more than one person. That is, even two people can possess the character of their dead ancestors. Because it's like a vital force. A vital force is a power that possesses the person. So if the soul of the ancestors is a very strong one, it can reincarnate in a particular person here, and also reincarnate in another person over there. Yes. So heaven and hell did not exist. What happened is that if somebody who is very malicious, somebody who is evil, if such person dies, the person doesn't go to hell. The person is going to reincarnate. By the time the person reincarnates, the person is going to reincarnate in a very bad way. The person can reincarnate maybe like a cripple. The person can reincarnate and become poor forever. The person can reincarnate and become unproductive. The person can reincarnate and become imbecile, all kinds of evil. You understand? That is why when the person can even reincarnate and become always sick. And before you know, the person goes again, reincarnate die, until they perform some kind of rituals to be able to purify that person. Yeah. So it's only the gods that can purify the person through, sacrifices, libation.
That's the exact same as the Hermetic understanding, or the ancient Egyptian understanding of karma, basically, and reincarnation.
Yeah. So I think Christianity is very, very, I will not say it's very, very utopic, but I think there is no people who you will explain Christianity to in Africa, you're looking at what have happened to Africa that we don't accept, because look at the idea of heaven, a very perfect place, everything is good, everything is perfect. You don't have to come back here, you just stay there and live there forever and ever and ever and ever.
Yeah.
Who would want to go there? So many Africans, they say, okay, that place is must be better than the place that we've been thinking about. And then they say, okay, this is hell. Once if you are an evil person, you'll be thrown to hell, you'll burn there and burn there and burn there forever. African people, they understand what it means to suffer. So nobody want to go there again.
Yeah, it's a real tricky sales pitch, because you hit people with a new fear they've never even considered before.
Yes. So
it supersedes everything.
So the fear is very huge, and the promises too they are very, very huge. So people are very, very careful,
Even without reincarnation, you can spend your entire... See, the lie is that you can be in hell. The truth is that hell can be in you, Absolutely. There's people in the chat right now saying this is hell. They think the experience where we are right now is hell, but other people would say it's heaven. So obviously it's something that's inside of you.
In fact, you can reincarnate and still be in the ancestorhood. That is why I say reincarnation is a thing of you are reincarnating a force, like you are reincarnating a character, not the person per se. Somebody who has reincarnated can still be in the ancestorhood. You'll be worshipped like a ghost if the person has performed good before, and still the character of the person will still be on earth through maybe his grandson or her granddaughter, depending on the sex of that person. Do you understand that? Yeah.
Cool. So like celestial, essentially. But I mean, like at that point, then if there's like the reward is that like the world continues on and you just become other persons, then, or do you like is there an idea of becoming more, or was it kind of the thought that we were already in a perfect cyclical world where we got through seasons and we dealt with things? Like it's not like there's not really like an idea of making the world a better place or getting to a better world.
Can you repeat that? I didn't hear you.
I guess I'm asking, I mean, so a big part of it is like you can go to heaven, is like you become more godlike. That's not to most, I guess that's not to every Christian, but I like this idea of you're becoming better. Is there a thing where we're evolving? Is that like, or are we already at like peak humanity in the tribal system? Are we not trying to, evolve?
In fact, we believe that to this world, is eternal. You understand? The Africans believe that this world is eternal. Not the kind of the one Christians say this world is going to be destroyed. Is eternal. And the more perfect human beings become, the more perfect the world will become. Do you understand? So the people, when the peak of it is that the soul of the individual, by the time the soul have performed a lot of good deeds, a lot of good. In fact, it is the good that are performed by the people that made the society, that you use to measure the if the society is better or it's not better. Do you understand that? So, like right now, the peak, as in it's individual. How I put it? Like there is a word I want to use to say what I have in mind, but what the hallmark of what I'm saying is that our society, as traditional people, the way we do things, our moral value, the more we keep it, that is the only way we can measure if we are in a perfect place or not. So if there are a lot of evils, if people perform a lot of evil, so we can say it's diminishing. So it can diminish, it can also increase depending on the actions of the people. You understand? So yeah, depending on the actions of people. Like for example, now there are people who are not very Western in their thought. There are people, despite the fact that people are running to America, they are running to Europe. I can tell you that there are people you want to take, despite that there is terrorism in Nigeria. If you want them to travel to Europe or America, they will reject it. Do you understand? They will reject it because they think the American society, because they think that the American society or the European society are immoral because of some of these practice, same sex and all that, for example. So if you come to Africa, for example, the idea of sex, if there is same sex in any community, we believe that is a sign of a very deadly evil that is about to befall the society. You understand? It's a sign of an impending doom that is going to befall the society.
Wow.
So if there are same sex in marriage in the community, or homosexual or incest and all kinds of things in the community, people are very skeptical about it, and people don't want to hear it at all because they believe that it's a sign of evil. It's a sign that the future is not going to be better. But if people are moral, people do things according to the law of nature, people are, moderate and very decent, they believe that it's a sign that, yes, the society is going to be better. You understand? So that is the way.
So, like, what would you think? Because you also brought up an interesting point. Like, coming to America or the West, we have Christmas once a year, and it's the one time when humans kind of in the West give. I don't know if that's true, but Seth, would you think, like you were saying, we kind of put it towards just this one day, we give gifts to kind of our friends or something like that, right? So, I mean, that seems really weird. Like, if you're from an Ubuntu culture, where shouldn't that be happening all the time?
Right? I mean, we're aspiring to do it all the time as well. We're just not able to do that.
Yes, you do it all the time, but in this moment of celebration, I say you take it upon yourself, like, because of the blessing that is attached. Man by nature, I always say they are selfish. As home, I always say. So when you say there is a blessing attached to this particular season, the gods have blessed this particular day, so that if you do something at this particular day, you are going to get this particular reward like never before. People, we definitely want to take that opportunity to do things. Like I say, even people that don't know how to give, or that find it difficult to give, at that particular day, they will give because of the blessings that are attached to it. So basically, that is what happened. But in a very traditional African society, giving is a cultural thing. Do you understand? Even if you are very poor, it's not an excuse. Giving is a particular thing. I will use the hunter as an example. In the villages, you see hunters, they go to the bush to go and hunt. Even if they hunt and they kill a rabbit in the bush, they come to the community, they share it among the family members. Do you understand?
Yeah,
so
right.
they share it among their family members. So it's just a cultural thing, like sharing it. In fact, people don't even attach so many meaning because they are just used to the idea of
sharing is just natural. It has to, we do these things because they're right, not for the reward or to be, claimed. Yeah. So what would be a normal Christmas gift? A lot of people don't have a lot to give. So how do you give in Africa if you don't have a lot? What are people giving each other?
Yes, like I said, you see food, food. If you cook food during this Christmas season, somebody visits your home, what happens is that you give that person food to eat. It's a very big thing.
Yeah.
If you can serve that person, if you can serve that person a plate of rice, you have done something great for that person, and that person will accept it in good faith. You understand? It is not because the person cannot afford that food, but the person is looking at, the idea of the fact that you are giving him food, from it's a ritual, like you attach some powers to it. Do you understand that?
Right.
So, and again, during this period, you see children, they visit their uncles. For example, if I were living in my community and my brothers were living in the next street, on Christmas Day, after they are finished taking their bath, they rub their perfume and everything, they will come and visit me, and I have to have some change. No matter how little the money is, I will share little for those children. You understand? You buy little, you buy sweets. You just make them happy at any way that you can, and then you take photos with them and all that. So actually, it's a way of, in fact, also getting to know your family members. You understand? Yes, because you visit them, and most of the time you don't do Christmas with your own parents too. Sometimes in most African culture, you don't celebrate all these things. They will send you to your uncle. You have to go there. You go and celebrate it with your uncle. You go and celebrate it with your grandmother.
Why? Oh, because they don't see people as often?
No.
Why do
No.
you go to your grandma or your uncle instead of your parent? Why would you go to that?
Yes, it's still the extension of the Ubuntu philosophy. You understand? To create that bond. You don't understand? Yeah, to create that bond, to make the children to understand where they are coming from, to understand their relative, to know their relative, things like that, sharing and doing things together, togetherness. That is the hallmark of it all. So people travel from one state to another just to go and celebrate the Christmas with their grandmother or with their uncle, mix up with the uncle's children and all that. So,
that's
and
awesome.
they keep sharing things among one another. They share things. In fact, neighbors too. So it's all based on sharing and sharing and sharing this period.
Where was it? I just saw my Sherry Anolani said, I would accept rice from this man, which is very nice. That's cool. I mean, it sounds cool. Like, I like the idea of the Nigerian Christmas because it seems like it's pretty based, like it's grounded in reality, and it's not swayed as hard by commercialism necessarily. But at the same time, it doesn't matter because they can't afford to be swayed by the commercialism. So maybe that's a big part of it. Like if they had more money to exploit, then Christmas commercials would be worse. But the idea seems also antithetical. You're spending it with strangers almost. You're spending it with your uncle instead of your immediate closest family.
In America, people leave their parents' house at 18 and go to college in a different state, then get their own place. In Africa, families stay together. So you go to see the people you don't usually see. In America, you don't usually see your own parents.
Yeah, is that true? Do families stay together as much, or is it starting to break apart more?
Pardon?
Are families staying together as much?
Like mother, father, child, living together when the child's 20s, 30s, still continue to live with the parents, or do they move out?
Not really. Because, for example, I grew up with my own elder brother. You understand? What happened is that if you are living in the village, and you have an uncle in the city, you have a dream of going to the city for a better life, you can easily go there, you stay with your uncle and all that. But if you don't have uncles in the city and everybody is in the village, then you can stay with your parents. But most of the time, people stay with their elder brothers, with their uncle who are living better. You understand?
Oh, okay.
Who are living a better life. So if somebody is poor and you have children, and you have a brother who is very rich, you send some of the brothers who come and accept some of these children to go and live with him so that he will help them, train them in schools and all that. So that is what happened. But traditionally, in fact, again, there are some places in African community where maybe the brothers, they are neighbors. They have children. Two of these brothers, they have children. Then these other ones, he will send his own children, some of his children, to go and live with his own brothers. Understand? Just to go and stay there, to go and learn, just to create that relationship, to make sure that relationship keep moving. Because what happens is that if you don't create some of these bonds, what we believe that if you don't create some of these bonds, by the time you die, your children will become aliens to your own brothers. They become aliens to their uncles. So for you to create that relationship from the beginning, you make sure that even when they were small, you send them to your brothers to go and live with them, to go and learn from them, especially during holidays. Yes. Hardly you can see an average African, child that will spend the holiday in the parents' house. They will go to uncle's house, go to elder brother's house to go and spend their holiday. You understand? Or
I like that a lot. I like the idea of doing that, cause then when you're a little kid, especially, you like to see your uncle's house or stay with grandma and stuff too. So it's like an adventure.
It's fun, actually.
Oh, dude, Ibiza. I know that we've been talking about some pretty cool stuff, but I'm pretty sure we're about to have Sam Newsman is about to show up. So I hope that.
Sound newsman on the beat, bringing you the Xmas heat. Toy Town where the lights are low, we're dancing to a Christmas flow. Sound newsman, man of Toy Town, gifts of action, figures abound. Sound newsman bringing cheer, with Lord Blanket we're all near.
Hey! You know what? I have a song to show you. I think it's this one.
I like that.
Lightning strikes, a new breed of heroes. It's the heights. From the power of dogs, these guardians of
They're like Egyptian dog gods.
It has to be.
Canaanites. If this was a cartoon, it would be called Dog Stars.
Hailing from planet Sirius, the Dog Stars being Earth on a mission to save mankind.
I think there could be something
That's
there.
genius.
Lightning
That's
Dogs.
genius.
It'd be the big thing. It'd be better than Thundercats. It's a new big cartoon.
Abiza, did you come prepared with an original song?
I can, well, I can barely hear when an American is singing. I can barely hear because of the way they are very fast.
Yeah.
I can't grab most of the time, but I love the sound. I love the music. You know, sometimes it's about the sound too, and I love it.
Lightning Dogs is going to be the next big thing. I can.
What are you talking about? It was already a thing, just people don't remember it. That timeline has not shifted into this one. Once it does, people will be like, "Oh yes, that's right. I remember Lightning Dogs.
Lightning Dogs was the best cartoon.
Had
Lightning
some of the
Dogs.
figures. Don't you remember the stuffed animals? There was a whole line. What are you talking about? It's out there. We just have to wait until they turn CERN on one more time.
I like this idea of Dog Stars.
We'll be like, oh my gosh, I
Because they're from the Dog Star Sirius,
Yeah.
you know, they
Yeah,
like the
it's like, what do
Transformers
you
from
mean?
Cybertron.
Oh,
You're gonna have
there's
to
a
help write the
VHS
lore.
tape out
Yeah.
there somewhere. I'm telling you what. And then,
Dog Stars. Yeah, I could totally write a melody that goes with it.
and then you'll have the two camps. You'll have the people that said that it was spelled DOGS.
Right, yeah.
And then you'll have the other ones that say it's DAWGZ. And it's like, well, which one is it? I don't know.
Why would it be spelled?
They fired up CERN again. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Oh my gosh. Well, gentlemen, I want to sit there and say, I think I did. Hold on, let me see if I think I had. Yes, yes. Here it is. Here it is. Yes, the notes for tonight. Yes, every night when we are live, I am taking notes.
It's true.
Notes.
You guys have to take notes because there will be a test. Thank you.
There will be a test.
Thank you, Sam.
every single week.
Get a doctor's note
Well,
for
maybe
that.
once a month, and then and you know what? Then you could have a test, and then the winner could maybe get a free membership or something for a month or whatever.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
like hey, it's like give them something for winning the test.
Yeah, I like that better than absolutely nothing.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there you
absolutely
go.
nothing. But absolutely nothing is good. Hey, just sometimes you just need to pat yourself on the back.
More
Sure.
audience integration in 2024. That's a good
I like
aspiration.
that idea. Well, we were talking a bit about like Christmas movies, alt Christmas, like the primordial Christmas, Nigerian.
Well, I know what you were
Christmas.
talking about. I have a whole damn list here. What did I just
Oh.
tell you?
Ah.
I had a whole list.
The men's are
I
number
should be
one.
taking-
Hey,
I should
Sam,
be
this is
taking
what we were
notes.
talking about. I've been taking notes the whole damn time.
I should be
What are you
taking
talking
notes of
about?
your notes, man. I'm sorry. Well, keep going. What do you think? What's on your mind then? What have you been thinking?
Well, I just want you to know that I think that every time I sit there and I've started taking notes a while back. I feel like every single time if you would have told me, hey, this is all that's going to be together on the notepad in one episode, I would have said, how are they going to connect all that? But some way you did. I don't understand how it happens, but it started off with the Tree of Life, which we all know that Devil's Tower was cut down years ago. In fact, there's a whole root system under there.
Yeah.
He was talking about having a Tree of Life. They also talk about the Black Mountain, Mount Meru, also known as the Rupus nigra, I believe. Possibly a black magnetic rock in the middle of whatever this is. And that's the
like it.
reason why all compasses point to north. It's the reason why Black Rock is called Black Rock. It's because I guess Larry Fink and all of his boys know a little something else.
And Wangle Nuts up
All of
north,
us. Right. So, but anyways, the Black Rock, gentlemen, in fact, if you look up wind maps and wind current maps, there is something that is obstructing the wind somewhere within the North Pole.
Wow.
People say that
that's my theory. The tree of life is in the North Pole.
Well, but was it cut down? I guess that's my question. And I think that might be what I'm trying to. I think that when you're talking about the tree of life, I think that you might be possibly correct.
I think another one would grow, and you just go through some.
It was cut down.
It might take a while to grow it back, though.
I think another one would grow, and in the interim, there would be some dark times.
Dude, that's my new myth.
These are possibly the dark times.
That's the best myth ever, Sam Newsman. Yay! That's like the first thing that the Dog Star is going to have to come to Earth, and the Lightning Dogs are going to save us from.
That's it. Yes, absolutely. We got to figure out where the cat at the top of the pyramid lies.
Dude, I think
there's a whole story there. I'm telling you what. But remember, this story already happened. We're just waiting for the timeline and CERN to merge us all back together so people finally remember it.
Dude, Saban, call me back.
It's already created.
It's happened. I like it though. The idea that they cut down the North Pole. I mean, that's that. There you go. There's a lot to that, and you know they want to like ice through it. They're trying to make like a way you can like take a boat through the north. You know, like
right. Well, they say that what happens is I believe the mountain that they say now. I think it was Mercator who made the map, the Mercator map.
That's true.
Of the North Pole, and it has the Rupus nigra, and it talks about, if you read some of these journals, from these some of the best seamen out there ever, but they would sit there and they had these journals. One of the journals talked about this magnetic black rock that was about 30 to 40 miles in diameter.
Wow.
And it reached all the way up into the heavens, bigger than any mountain, but however, swirling around this mountain was how the sea and the tides come in and out, swirling around the mountain. And in the journal, it talks about how that if ships got too close, the nails within the boards would be stripped from the vessels themselves if they got too close. And the swirling of the currents in and out around this is the reason why there are the tides, as opposed to that glowing thing.
So this is the stump. This is like the Black Rock is the mesa, you know, of the silicon tree.
Stump of the tree of life.
Oh man, silicon tree. Come on, silicon. Anybody?
Or it's a foreign object that's not supposed to be there.
Could be both. But
maybe if you cut down the tree of life, you sit your Black Rock right there.
If it's not supposed to grow here because it's a silicon tree and we're in a carbon like era or aeon or something like that, and
or maybe it turns to silicon.
Well, they recently did discover there is an entire root system underneath this structure.
Bruh.
That is something that they did discover. It has been announced. That is not science fiction.
Giant trees, 2 miles tall, at least, maybe more. That's crazy.
Probably more.
Crazier things have happened. We've got tiny little water bears in our tummies.
You know, and we're just getting started. I didn't even bring up Jesus, Santa Claus, Serpentor, and Krampus. And oh my God. listen, I'm still at the top of the note page right now. What is going on here?
All right, Paul, should we go to number 2? We need Paul Schaefer over here, and then you go to number 2.
Oh my gosh. I saw the Never Ending Story, Seasonal Depression, Christmas Carol, Alf. This is the line of the evening. I did like this one. Privilege is a victory over nature. Can I get that on a bumper sticker?
Yeah, we got to work on that. I really like. Did you come with that? Because like it's brilliant. It's one of my favorite.
I just made that up. It might not be right. It could probably be better. It sounds good though.
I'm gonna leave it.
Great. It's very t-shirt worthy, bumper sticker worthy.
Yeah,
I like it.
I should say.
Look, ChatGPT even agrees. Look at this. It's like I understand what you shared. This. Yeah, like look at that.
What is it saying? What is it saying?
I understand that you have shared a statement about privilege in nature. Privilege is a term used for describing an unearned benefit or advantage that, I don't know about that, unearned, but that an individual received in society by virtue of their identity, blah, blah, blah. Nature, on the other hand, while privilege in nature may seem unrelated, it's important to recognize
it doesn't understand.
See, I didn't understand at all. Ask it about the damn Black Rock. What are you doing? Like,
That's
you
a
know, what is it
so
going to tell
crap.
us about the black rock and cutting down the tree of life?
What is Grok? Does Grok know?
Grok would know.
What about the tree of life?
Grok, come over to me, Grok. What do you got to say?
So,
How
by the
come
way,
it's
it's
so
going to be
hard
the
to
win.
just-
It's somebody in the chat is bringing up winter solstice, and is happening tonight. The 21st is winter solstice, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
about an
Midnight tonight.
hour from now, Eastern time. That's where I am located. About 1 hour. It is 11 o'clock ding here on the East Coast. What else did I have? I had a couple of other things. Oh, you guys were talking about Miracle on 34th Street. Yes, I did know that it was just kind of just thrown out there. I did know that. I did know that's that. But this one was interesting. A flop. A movie that was considered a flop. A Wonderful Life. The studio. As soon as it sat there and was a flop, they allowed the copyright
to expire.
And then immediately the networks picked up on it, and it's been running on television ever since.
I feel like we listen to the same podcast.
I feel like this is a New Year's movie more than a Christmas movie.
Do you listen to a podcast called Cinematic? What is it? Cinematic Journeys?
Negative.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Where I learn a lot of this stuff.
But I
about
did talk
movies.
about all this on like my New Year's special like 2-3 years ago. So it does exist. You can learn it from me too.
I feel like I've heard it somewhere.
It's out there somewhere. Yes, Google does work unless you're still using. Well, yeah, it's if you're still using that. But of course, you tell me to use ChatGPT,
Bing, bro.
so I can get pictures of Casper the Holy Ghost.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. Does he speak in tongues?
He has to. Look at his
He
tongue.
has to. Is that all he speaks in?
No, he speaks in the hearts and minds of men.
Where's that AI song? What are you doing? What are you doing?
What am I doing with my time?
Free
time? Free time? I beg your pardon.
Free time. Hold on. Anyway.
Oh, there's like something eating Santa there too. There's like a weasel on his shoulder.
Was there really?
Like, yeah.
Oh, there is a little because you know what? Because weasels. I was thinking about this.
He's biting Santa.
Weasel mythology, because like cultural depictions of weasels. We talked about Pauly Shore the other night, and like the weasel, dude, like the weasel with the lady with Ermine, like the weasel is important, and it's like constantly a ghost and a demon. I'm sorry to we'll do a weasel thing in another.
What about a ferret? Is a ferret the same thing?
Dude, a ferret's different, but if you see a weasel on your wedding day, it's like probably a woman who had a bad wedding, and she's gonna tear up your wedding dress. That's according to Greek mythology.
If someone just showed up to a wedding with a weasel, I think I would be, that'd be sus from jump, right?
That would be sus from jump. That's exactly right.
I'm a stony, crusty dude with
the
a
most
mop
DC thing I've
on
heard.
top. Remember that Pauly Shore song?
Well, guys, listen, I don't want to keep you too long. I know we just dinged 11 o'clock, but I did need to tell you something. And that is a revelation that I, the most trusted puppet in media reporting since Roswell, Sam Newsman, can give. And it's something, and it's information that will change your life. But before I begin, I need to ask you one question. Did you ever lose a toy? Did you ever lose a toy?
Yes.
That one G.I. Joe figure?
I blocked it out.
I've lost an adult toy, like a collectible.
Oh, no, not an adult toy.
What about Barbie's dollhouse?
Not like a dildo.
Did you lose the slide in Barbie's dollhouse?
No.
Perhaps you lost an accessory such as Darth Vader's lightsaber or even Michelangelo's.
All my lightsaber toys were stolen.
They were all stolen.
Yeah. And a kilogram of Nag Champa incense. It was a rough day.
The rest of your childhood ruined because you just assumed that they might have drifted down the creek when you were playing with them outside.
What really happened?
I'm here to tell you that the reason why your toys and accessories went missing is because of Lord Blanket.
No, really?
Lord Blanket is the reason why your He-Man's legs broke. Lord Blanket is the reason why your Lino's eyes stopped glowing. Lord Blanket is the reason why your Nintendo blinks and you blowing into the cartridge doesn't do a damn thing. Lord Blanket.
Is he evil?
Lord of all Blanket. The bad guy.
He's the bad guy. I didn't know that Lord Blanket was the bad guy. See, because I was always thinking it was like Brave Little Toaster Blanket. He's like the first toy. He's
never
your
heard of
blanket.
Lord Blanket.
Lord Blanket?
He's real.
Lord Blanket's real.
He is real. And he arrives every Christmas.
Some people think he's a magic carpet.
Years ago, and we have this on record years ago, the kingdoms of the golden giraffe fell. Imagination was destroyed. And Lord Blanket gained the power of the golden giraffe.
Oh.
However, there are whispers and rumors that these kingdoms might be returning soon. So, with every single holiday season, Lord Blanket returns to make sure that the power of the golden giraffe and that the imaginations of children continue to remain in his grasp.
My God.
So,
Abiza, are you still here from Nigeria? Do you have any thoughts on giraffes, on the golden giraffe? Is there any mythology that you can think of about giraffes or any thoughts on giraffes? Are there giraffes in Nigeria? Aren't there? Is that real?
He fell asleep.
Nice.
Wait, oh, thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, listen, hey, look, I just found a new gig. Why don't I just start reading to people?
There totally are Nigerian giraffes, bro.
You know that beautiful puppet voice? It just puts me right to sleep. Well, thanks.
Could I see a picture of Lord Blanket? I'm having a hard time relating to this.
Bro, Lord
mythology.
Blanket.
Lord Blanket. Lord Blanket using the hashtag Hail Lord Blanket.
Lord Blanket, bro. Brave little toaster?
Rumors are that if you take a picture of your toy and you use the hashtag Hail Lord Blanket, your toy will immediately become a part of Lord Blanket's toy army as he continues to take over the imaginations of everyone all over the world.
Lord Blanket's based out of Cincinnati, CINCINATTI, Cincinnati. You know what I'm talking about? No, Babes in Toyland.
Babes in Toyland.
Babes in Toyland, and they sing about Cincinnati. Is that the right? Yeah, with Keanu, bro. Keanu Reeves. This movie's friggin' nuts. Where is it? He sings like Cincinnati all like earnestly. Anyway, there's like a blanket in this, and that's how the cookie crumbles. You just have to know. You just have to find out for yourself. Babes in Toyland.
Several years ago in Toy Town, the presidential election happened. Before then, we had Trump E. Bear, who was the president of Toy Town, who built a wall. The wall, he said, was a wall of carded action figures. It said it was supposed to protect Toy Town from Lord Blanket. However, he was voted out of office.
Yeah.
And the Versace commander, wearing masks, going under by some kind of snake, cobra,
Serpentor thing.
So the Lord Blanket mythology is a metaphor for contemporary socio-political situations in America.
I mean, it was an electric blanket.
I've been
doing how many fires electric blankets started?
I've been doing this a long time.
Does Lord Blanket enjoy the smell of children?
You just nailed the smell of the imagination of children. Can you destroy the imagination?
If you sneak up behind them, and can you sniff that through the top of their head, their imagination?
That might be one of his other minions. I'm not sure.
That's what Biden's really doing. He's stealing people's imagination at children.
The blankets, like kids had their blanket. You lose your blanket at some point. It's like probably the first thing you lose is your blanket. A lot of people don't have their baby blanket anymore, right? I think it's like taken from you or given to some other kid who doesn't appreciate it. Is that just personal? I don't know. But like the toy blanket idea, I think that is like the original toy, because it's something that keeps you warm and it's so biblical, like. Keeps the cold.
Oh, did I ever tell you the story of the reason? Now, I think that sometimes people might say that Lord Blanket is the bad guy, but I might tell you that he might be misunderstood. Being the original toy, years ago, he went through generation after generation of being the first thing that the child grabbed when he came home and the last thing that he let go before he left the house. But then sometime in, they say, the 1970s, the kingdom of the golden giraffe was born. How did this happen? It was because one day the child threw the blanket into the corner and came back with a new toy.
Oh, dear.
A toy that he acquired from the kingdom of the
I think I hear it's now prayer hour in Nigeria.
Oh,
that's crazy.
I love it personally. It seems like it goes well with.
It's
Lord
like a
Blanket.
very Christmas story ending to a Christmas episode with like eating the Chinese duck, and this Christmas episode with some Muslim prayer.
And the legend of Lord Blanket.
This is the most Christmas.
Oh, you can hear them calling prayer, right?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, that is prayer hour. That's it.
I have no idea if you have any thoughts on like a mythology of giraffes. That was my thought, but I doubt you see too many giraffes.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of giraffe, but other animals, there are a lot of mythology. But for giraffe, I think there might be some African society where you have giraffe, but in my own society, I have never seen a giraffe apart from, seeing it in a movie and or documentary or something. But giraffe, no.
Yeah, it seems interesting. The golden
It
giraffe.
seems the Lord Blanket has won again, gentlemen. Yes, the sacred giraffe is dead. The kingdoms of the golden giraffe died. However, there are rumors that they might be coming back in 2024. Maybe a few have already sprung up.
Gotta be careful about.
I got a question, Ibiza. There's a guy from Guyana in the chat, and he keeps asking you about Brontachi root. What is Brontachi root? Oh,
wow. What can I say? I mean, Brantachi root for the Ashawo. Wow. Well,
what does it mean?
Is your thing breaking up? I can barely hear you. I think you might have stumbled onto the truth about something really important.
They cut the hard line.
We need
Brontachi. What is going on here? We're just trying to have a Nigerian Christmas special. From the other side of the pond, this is what they do.
Oh wait, he's back. All right, tell us, what is it? What is it?
Yeah, I can see a chat. Bruda get me more Brantachi root for the Ashawo. Wow, I'm not conversant with the Brantachi root, but the Ashawo we mean prostitute. Prostitute is Ashawo in a Nigerian
so
land.
this is probably a root that cures erectile dysfunction
or AIDS. Maybe it probably cures AIDS or something, or they think it does, or you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like
so Ashawo are commercial sex workers, and how do they relate it with the Brantachi root? I'm not sure what they mean.
Man, this Christmas special just gets better the longer it goes.
It's true. Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, trying to read how fast he's clicking while I'm looking at it is ridiculous.
Oh my god, yeah. It's because you don't use Dvorak. You gotta use a Dvorak keyboard.
What? What?
Yeah.
Gesundheit.
This is a Dvorak keyboard. This is the keyboard layout I like to use. Check that out. No ASDF. AOEUI. You put all your vowels in your left hand, and then everything is just super easy.
That's what you use to type with?
Yeah, you can memorize it and then just set your keyboard to use that. You can even get like a little keyboard overlay that goes over your keyboard. So like it's all the same keys, just different places, and all the vowels in your left hand. You can type anything so fast.
I would still be hesitant to go raid a dungeon in World of Warcraft with you with that keyboard. I would say I don't know if you have enough. I don't know if you have enough hotkeys there. What's alive? What are you doing there? Hold on, wait a minute.
This is the other lightning dog. This is like an anime, like Samurai Pizza Cat.
A whole set of song ideas. We'll do a whole AI
thing. You didn't see that coming, did you?
Okay, so this would be like the outro. This would be the outro to the show. So you have the intro, then you have the outro. Some people would sit there and say that some of the outros in the 80s were better than the intros.
Yeah, right.
You know, if you listen to the Thundercats outro, the Thundercats outro hits pretty hard.
It's pretty hard.
But then you listen to the intro, you're like, oh, well, that's what everybody knows. But don't you remember that guitar riff in the?
I'm really glad that we did that because John Elliott just sent $50.
Hey, that's the talkie timer. That's the talkie timer right there.
John Elliott, we love you. Talkie Time loves you.
Thanks, buddy.
We all love
I didn't know you were here watching.
Yeah.
Dude, John Elliott, you're a hero. That'd be awesome.
That's the homie. Merry
Thanks
Christmas,
for your
John.
contribution. Silverhawks, bruh. That's what Brian Christopher says. Of course, Silverhawks.
Dude, this is kind of the Silverhawks
are
vibe.
My favorite. Silverhawks are way better than Thundercats. That's not a hot take. That is just
Silverhawks.
No, that's Thundercats.
I know. How's the Silverhawks run? Oh, wings of metal, into steel, thunder. Silverhawks are go.
You're getting there. You're getting there. Yep. Yeah. So there's the outro music, guys. It has been a Merry Christmas. I hope all of you guys have a Merry Christmas. You guys know where to find me. I just posted a song a little earlier from Will Vinton's Claymation Christmas. So We Three Kings and the Caroling Camels. I will be posting a reel here in a few moments. Was the MAGA nightmare before Christmas? is the title of tonight's reel. It was the MAGA Nightmare Before Christmas. Yes, every Saturday morning, 9 to noon. We'll be back this week. Xirtus, when are you going to come on the show? We need to talk about lightning dogs.
Let's set it up. I'm down. I'm going to be, I got a little winter adventure of my own. My Christmas movie is going to be the JTT I'll Be Home for Christmas. Is that the one? What's that movie? Yeah. Have you seen I'll Be Home for Christmas? That's going to be my Christmas experience. I'll be trying to be home for Christmas.
Oh,
and
I thought you meant you're going to be watching that movie for Christmas.
Like
no, I'll just be like running around like Jonathan Taylor Thomas, you know?
Yeah. Well, guys, listen, it's been a wonderful time. I learned so much tonight, like I always did. Of course, I took notes. I hope everyone else did, because there will be a test in the future. There will be a test, and a test winner might get a whole free membership for a month, maybe two, maybe I don't know. We'll do it for a while. I don't know. It just gives back a little bit to the community, and make sure that you guys are all listening. Guys, it has been such a pleasure. I hope you all have a great one. A very Merry Christmas. Broadcasting live deep from an underground military bunker or a spaceship high above the plane of Earth. From the most trusted company in media reporting since Roswell, I'm Sam Newsman.
Merry Christmas, Sam.
Bringing cheer with the Lord blanket, we're all near. In a land of dreams and wonder, Sam Newsman, our hearts he'll plunder. With toys and gifts galore, Sam Newsman forevermore.
That's a fun song.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're pretty much at the end of our Christmas special. I want to say thank you guys for being here. Biza, thanks for calling in from Nigeria so you could share with us all this interesting stuff about the history of Nigeria as well as like contemporary culture. It's awesome. I appreciate it.
Yeah, nice meeting you, brother. Merry Christmas, Ibiza.
Yeah, dude. Well,
yes, I will do that. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you for accepting me into the show.
For sure, dude.
Thank you.
And then talk to you soon, man. I love you, Seth. Peace.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Oh, wait, hold on. We didn't plug any of my stuff.
Oh, whoa. Very. This is actually really important.
I got Christmas songs to plug.
This is really important because he actually has a lot of Christmas music.
Yeah.
Hold on a second.
Wait, let's go to my link tree. Yeah, there you go. Go listen to Christmas Time Thing.
Dude, Christmas Time Thing is the Christmas time song. I listened to this when I set up my Christmas tree with my mom.
That's awesome.
She loved it. My brother listened to it. He's listening to it now, I'm pretty sure. Like, because he hangs out with people that like to listen to this kind of music when they hang out. You know what I mean? Like, it's good. Like, reggae music's great if you have like a social environment and you're hanging out with friends and stuff. It's like non-intrusive. It just feels good. He's also got all these amazing music videos he's put out. So like, check out. I think you got a new video coming out really soon, right?
Next year, yeah. It's
early.
done. I'm just sitting on it.
Yeah.
But I want everyone to go enjoy Christmas Time Thing.
Dude, on YouTube, the Christmas Time Thing has like this awesome animation. So if you have like a big TV and you just play this in the background,
like
it's kind of like it's a Yule log fire video.
Yeah, it's got a fire in it. There you go.
Dude, it's
Make
super
that your Yule log. But it's a get stoked up for Christmas. So next year, if you're just learning about this song, next year, put it on Thanksgiving night, and get stoked for the beginning of Christmas season.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been all Christmas. And yeah.
And I just want to encourage everyone in the chat, you know what I mean? Try to let the magic of Christmas in and soften your heart. You've still got plenty of time. Even like Ebenezer Scrooge, he woke up Christmas morning and he still had plenty of time to redeem his whole year. So try to soften yourself and, and enjoy the season and the lights and the music and everything like that. And just worry about it later.
Dude, you got to believe. Yeah. All right. Love you guys. Merry Christmas to all.
Merry Christmas.
And to all.